There it is.
Full screen it. I got the sound effects ready.
Full screen this?
Oh, Johnny in the dark. You look like Phil Collins in that video.
Oh man, that's scary, dude. Ouch. Oh my god.
Johnny, what's going on in California?
This is so fucking hilarious.
They cut my power, man. We got no power.
No power.
Horrible.
No power. He doesn't have the power.
Come on, I'm right here. I give it to the full power.
What are you using? Fireflies? What's going on? Yeah. Oh.
So I don't see John on. Oh, there it is. All right, now you're streaming. Everything is good. Welcome.
Are we here? Hey everybody. We're live. It's what? I can't see anything. 9:18 out here. PM on October 26th. And California cut our power. They finally did it.
It's like Johnny is like he's like in Beirut right now behind the lines.
We're in a bunker somewhere outside Fallujah.
Johnny Green Beans.
That's right. That's right. Today is Ellie's birthday again.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Ellie. And yeah, they cut our power. And so I'm running the Wi-Fi off the car battery. So that's how we're here. It's the truth. So I don't know
how long it'll last.
Yeah, who knows? That is a pretty new battery though. I got it not that long ago. So
we'll just run out there every 20 minutes or so and just start the car for a few.
Yeah, whenever you take Howie out.
Yeah, every 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's what it'll be. Yeah, you won't believe what he did earlier. I was sitting. This is before the power went out. I was sitting there at my computer, getting things ready, and all of a sudden I turn around and I see Howie eating, and I'm like, "What?" He was like on the floor here. He was eating, and I look, and it looked like Cookie Monster's hand, but black. And I realized Ned was sitting right next to him. So Ned had brought something in and Howie ate it.
Oh, no.
And it was blue?
It was black.
It was probably a mouse.
Yeah, probably. And we heard crunching.
Oh, man.
They brought you a gift.
So they were sharing a snack?
Mm-hmm. Now they're best friends now.
Yeah.
I love Ned. Yeah. So yeah. Who's here? Well, hey, John BL, man, this is your thing.
Sure.
It's all you, man.
I didn't ask for these powers.
With great power comes
that's
well,
the funniest thing you've ever
with great power comes roll call.
Yeah, let's do roll call.
Well, who's it? Who else? Who's actually in here? First of all,
well, we've got the regular crew. We got Jay, Hannon, David Nesdahl.
Hi. How's everyone doing?
With a beautiful Charvel over there.
Yeah, that thing's beautiful.
We'll have to talk about that in a little bit. And we got Neanderthal. Hello.
Mm-hmm.
What is that, a Monty Python shirt?
Oh, yeah. Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition.
Yeah. And Johnny Beane in the dark.
In the dark. Johnny Beane in the dark.
yeah. Oh my gosh.
Looking
I'm
good,
using
though.
a little light. I've got this little LED light that I use. I usually keep this in my pedal board for gigs. It sits on the ground next to my
Did you
board.
get that at the dollar store? I have one of those.
That's for the pump. That's for a pumpkin.
Right here.
Right, it's right here.
Mine's
right?
a turtle.
It's from IKEA.
Pumpkin.
I got it from IKEA years ago, and it still works.
How many extra parts did you have when you put it together?
It took forever. Yeah, it's a cool little light. I keep it with me all the time, and comes in handy on Halloween night.
Or random Saturdays in October where PGE cuts your power.
Yeah. Okay. Oh no.
Oh no.
Hopefully everything is cool. I can hear my laptop. The fan is kicked in.
Here's my little. It's the same thing, I think, except I got mine at the dollar store.
Yeah, it looks
Little
like
turtle light.
It's similar, yeah.
Mine's got 4. Yours has 3. How much do you pay for yours?
I don't know. But look, it's a spaceship taking off.
Well, Johnny, who is it? Soda and Milk says, say in the year 2000. You got that.
In the year 2000?
Yeah.
Suddenly, California's not so friggin' cool now, is it?
Right?
Man.
When is it ever cool?
Well, they were threatening to do this, what, a few weeks ago? When was that, a month ago?
Yeah, I remember Caleb was talking about it.
Not too long ago.
Yeah, they were threatening to do this. We were fine. Our friend Alex Radford, they cut his power for a few days. And then there's no warning, you know? Like you find out like the night before or something that they might do it.
Well, how do they expect you to take a shower and all that stuff?
What?
How do they expect you to shower and you know and do normal life
You
things?
shower in the dark.
You got to prepare ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
If you have, depends on what kind of a well you have. If you have like if you're off the grid, then you got to fill up your bathtub and what do they tell you? All the different precautions. If your power is going to go out for a while. But anyway, who's in the chat tonight? We got Sodas out there. Renus Pinkel, Krellbar, Zach Thong, Reza Khan, John Bolware, David Share, Vistalite, 1972, Thomas Santiago, Hobo Rody, Zach Thong, Mickey Settlemeyer, who else? David Ennis is out there, Hugh Caldwell, Fruitcake Tony. Who else? Nightbot's out there tonight.
Fast.
Will Dunham, Janice Lala, Sean Zimmerman, Dwight Bailey, John Moronic, everybody else.
And the rest.
That's it. About it for now.
Beautiful.
You're welcome.
And that's it. Good night, everybody.
And that's all we got time for.
We have a lot to talk about. We got to talk about this.
Let's talk about that, Dave. That's a nice looking Charvel.
Yeah, thank you. Well, it belongs to a customer of mine at the moment. I'm doing a setup on it, and he brought it in. I'm sorry. What?
I said, what kind of customer?
Yes, a good customer, actually.
Oh my God.
Oh no.
So,
Dave, quick, he's getting away.
Holy shit.
Oh man.
Oh no.
so anyway, the body's made out of
The body. The body.
It's made out of a 160-year-old pine, and it's light as a feather. And
I would have said like maybe 50, 55. I don't know.
yeah. It's got a gold Floyd Rose on it.
Dave, is that guy all right?
It's got pickups on it, pickup rings, a roasted maple neck with great flame on it. Great flame.
Wow.
It's got great flame on it.
Holy shit.
Flaming.
Yeah.
It is definitely flaming.
Yeah, so
He's got the keys.
It's like misery.
Oh.
Oh, fucking good for you, David. Beautiful. Nice. Well played, sir.
So the customer brings it in today, and he says, he wants to set up. And I said, if you ever sell this guitar, I want the first right of refusal. And he said, well, I might be interested in trading for something. So when I call him back and tell him his guitar's done, he'll play a couple guitars here and see what he wants. And if we can come up with like, I'll keep this. If not, I'll just take the setup.
I don't want to be the guy to have to say this, but I think Mancuda's got a hard on.
Oh God.
And then there's this guitar.
I didn't think it could get worse than last week, but it is.
There's this guitar, but we all know about this one. This is 1986 Kramer.
Yeah, let's just ignore that and ignore everything and just talk about guitars.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's get a close up of that headstock there, Dave.
Sure.
Let's get some nice. Nice.
Now that neck is beautiful.
Look at the back
hardware.
Back of it, it's just
insane.
Even the skunk stripe is got a color gold. Was it gold or?
I think it's maple.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's probably maple.
Are the tuners gold? Are the tuners gold tinged?
Yes.
Yeah, that looks beautiful.
They're crown head Godos.
And the Floyd. Let's look at that. Please, anything else? Let's look at the Floyd.
People want to know what model this Charvel is. It's a custom shop San Dimas, 160-year-old pine neck.
Pine body.
And pine body with a carbonized maple neck is what it's called. It's called the Carbonized Series. And it was a run done by the Music Zoo a few years ago. They did like a run of 12, I guess, and this is one of them.
The frets aren't brass, are they?
No.
Oh, it just looks like they have a gold tinge.
Yeah, they're gold because of the gold parts on them.
Pine body. I've never. I don't.
It's very
rare to find a pine body on a guitar.
Well, this wood is from a building. It's from an old building. It's regenerated wood from an old building.
Salvage.
Well, they don't call it salvage. Whatever
the antique when they take down an antique building. Man. I don't think you need to creep. I mean, it's pretty obvious. Although Dave hasn't noticed yet, so
he's completely unaware of the escaped person in his home. Yeah. Well, it is Halloween. This is frightening.
By the way, what were you doing before you?
You weren't aware of Dave's side job.
You never know what's going to happen in this house.
You said
clearly. Somebody pointed out that both the neck on that guitar and Mancuda are flaming. By the way, I've never met John, and I just threw a shot across the bow. I apologize.
Hey, you can take it.
Yeah, it's all good.
The Pinewood Derby.
Oh,
that's nice, man.
And it sounds.
It is beautiful.
Incredible. It's great.
What pickups you got in there?
They're Duncan's. The bridge is a JB, and the neck is a 59.
It definitely looks a little bit like an N4, but thankfully it's got the full size body and not shaved down on the lower end.
Oh yeah. The neck feels it's so good. They rounded the edges. They did the rolled edges really amazingly. And there's still plenty of room on both sides of the high and low E string, so the E strings don't slip off. It's your typical Charvel feeling neck, small C, much like a early '60s Fender, but with a flat radius. Just really comfortable. This guitar, if it's 6 pounds, that's heavy.
Is that a 2-piece body matched?
Yes.
Is that body routed?
No.
That pine is just that light. Routed. It's like, is the cavities inside? How routed out is it?
No, it's not. Pine is very light wood.
Very smooth, beautiful top. I like that.
Yeah, it's soft though. Pine is pretty soft. Unlike Mancuda, who may or may not be soft. Well, for those of you that can't wait till Tuesday.
John, join the show.
Yeah, that's exactly what we need. Let's let Mancuda talk.
Dave, what's that road case next to you there?
This one here?
Yeah.
It's a pedal board.
Oh, pedalboard?
Yeah.
Is that a Buddy Guy Strat there over your shoulder?
No, it's a John Petrucci strap.
The noises.
So,
The only thing worse than him tied up in your house is him loose in your house.
Who tied him up? That's what I want to know.
so funny. I did actually.
Beautiful.
Marcus Cahill. So I'm sorry, Marcus Cahill says, "Hey Dave, I have a Kramer Beretta Vintage with a Floyd Rose and a Duncan JB. Looks exactly like the one you had on last night's show. What pickup do you have in that bad boy? I also have a JB, but that JB is a 1984 JB. It's an original, I don't know what, 30-plus-year-old pickup in that 30-plus-year-old guitar."
Uh-huh.
All right, Johnny. Get it on all of us. There we go. And there's tonight's festivities.
Well, thank you, Dave.
Wow.
What would be really funny is if he gets in his car and goes home now.
Is that what you're hoping for?
Is that what you're just going to say? Is that subliminal? Is that subliminal suggestion?
Let me tell you something about John Mancuda. We know he's the way he is on these shows, but I got to tell you, he is the sweetest guy. He is a nice guy. He comes in here and he's just a sweetheart. Gives my fiance a big hug. Plays with my dog.
Did he bring you flowers, Dave?
No, but I mean he plays with both my dogs and makes them feel comfortable. And my dog Brandy, my big lab, she loves that guy.
Dogs can tell, definitely.
But it's cool. It's cool that he's here. He came in to visit his mom for her birthday, and just asked if he can come over. I said sure.
Did he bring any guitars with him?
He will on Tuesday night. He has guitars here.
Cool.
Yeah, he'll do the show from here Tuesday night. So he brings some guitars.
Oh, it's a sleepover.
No, his parents live on Long Island. No, I don't have room for him. He's too tall.
Anything else happening on Tuesday night?
Yes, it looks like we will have Andy Timmons on the show as a guest.
Oh, awesome.
Andy Timmons. That's wonderful. That's good to hear.
It's a good pull.
Yeah, I'm waiting for him to call me tomorrow to just iron out the particulars. But yeah,
I don't think Jay has said a word.
I just was laughing. Oh no, I have to say something, huh?
Gene Timmons.
I'm just going to respond to people in the chat. That's all. By responding, I mean typing.
I think he's leaving. He turned his car on.
Huh?
I think he may be leaving. He turned his car on.
Really?
Johnny?
I really don't.
Or Mancuda.
Mancuda.
Either that or he turned his car on to get dressed in his car.
Jeez.
Or maybe he just wants to help power Johnny's car battery right now. For those that are joining us late.
Yeah, everybody, turn your cars on.
Yeah, fuck California. They turn off our power, we're going to fuck up the ozone layer. Everybody, fire it up. Yeah.
Is that Mancuda?
Wednesday store. Andy Timmons is on until he sees this.
Those guys are hacks.
Very funny. Oh, is he leaving? He's leaving.
Come on. That's the putting us in suspense for Tuesday night.
Are you leaving? Question mark.
Hush, Mark.
That's the way to leave an impression.
Isn't that the Irish goodbye?
He's gonna get pulled over with ropes in his underwear.
Probably,
I escaped. I narrowly escaped. Nesdal. It was Nesdal.
he said, "Yeah, did great. Chat later."
He'll be back.
That's it. It was just his cameo.
He'll be back. Come on. Oh man. Oh, it is 12:37 out there.
Yeah, it is late there.
Yeah. All right, he's gone.
It'd be funny though if he does get pulled over. Where are you coming from? David Nesdal's house. Oh, that guy.
John
how's that
Boulware says today he tried to get an appraisal on his Jack Daniels bass. The guy was stumped, could not give me a price, but he said if he's going to put it up for sale, put it up for $5,000. I don't know
What?
about
What was
that.
that?
Who
Jack,
made it? Is it from the same the same guy that made mics, or is it just a factory? Which company made the or produced the?
I
Jack
have
Daniels
no
bass?
idea.
Is it a GMW? John
Is it?
Bowler,
GMW, yeah, probably.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Bulwer. Yeah. He sent me a text today saying how, like, he's like, no wonder you guys never answer my questions. He's like, I'm always 20 minutes behind in the video.
Yeah.
That's what he said. So he told me that same thing in a text.
Fruitcake Tony says, got you something coming your way from me via Johnny. Maybe unboxing is in order. Awesome, man. Hell yeah.
Nice.
Whoa.
Tony has been generous lately.
I'll definitely open that on the show. As long as it's not perishable, I'll wait till we're live.
I love this whole getting free shit from people. That's a good move. I got to get in on that action.
Yeah, I was thinking about that, Paul. We got to get some swag from your station.
I'll get some swag. I'll get some T-shirts and shit like that. Yeah, why not?
Cool. Oh, and you need a puff shirt or poof shirt?
I do need a poof shirt.
A puffy shirt.
puff.
The puffy shirt.
Puffy shirt.
That's exactly what I need. You thought Mancuda looked awkward.
Yeah, those are the Johnny Bean ropes he was tied up.
The Desert Sun Yellow ropes. That's funny. Man.
Did Rob finish the? I don't know what he showed the what was it? What do you call it? The Hydra.
yeah, he finished it. He put that bridge on it.
Yeah,
It was interesting
to
to see
he posted a picture the other day.
the ugliest Van Halen guitar.
Yeah, in between posting pictures of him shooting people on the range.
He doesn't.
Oh, gosh.
Just hanging on Tuesday.
Hi, Desiree.
Hi, Desiree.
Hi, Desiree.
Oh, I'm waving. You can't see me right now. All you see is your. There you go.
All you see is your damn self.
Oh my goodness. Hi guys.
Everybody
Hi.
waving.
There's Johnny in the dark.
Sorry.
Yeah, he just left.
Yeah, it's funny. Mancuda leaves, Desiree comes back. She's like, okay, this is
I can
safe.
finally come out.
Oh my God.
Desiree told him that she doesn't like when he's on the show.
she's in her room with the door barred and a
Does
shotgun.
not like it. She doesn't like the content.
Oh,
And a lot of people don't. A lot of people like it. A lot of people don't like it. But it is what it is.
I had a man walk around in his underwear in my house. That's weird.
Yeah, who
Oh,
doesn't,
man,
who doesn't
right?
find that
It was
uncomfortable?
stuffed. His underwear was stuffed.
He just sold him out.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Well, I don't know what it was stuffed with, but it looked like it was stuffed.
I didn't look.
Well, I had no choice. I had to put the rope on him.
He had to put the rope in him. I mean, on him.
I just have visions of that, that Family Guy that we know what's going on here. The kids don't, but we do.
You're right.
Oh my god! I hope our neighbors did not see him going out there out of the house.
Nah.
He's running down the street right now.
Come on, everybody! We're going
Screaming and
streaking
crying.
in the quad. We're going streaking.
Exactly.
Like, what's going in that house?
You know, it started off sounding like a pretty good idea. When
They
he-
usually
What
do.
was the conversation, Dave?
He was like, "So what you doing Saturday night?" I'm like, "I don't know." He says, "Well, you know, why don't I come over and then you do a show? You do the show with the guys, and I come over.
I got a
and
great idea. In the middle of the show.
Make like I'm tied up, and I need to try to escape from your house." I'm like, as long as it's not on a Tuesday or Friday night, I don't care.
As long as we don't have Andy Timmons on the show.
Well,
No. You didn't tell Andy Timmons about the Saturday show, did you?
I
no,
hope not.
no. And I believe John is going to be curbed a bit for Tuesday night.
A bit.
So
That's a
You're
huge
bringing
rating.
him from an 11 to like a 10.5.
Fruitcake Tony, it was his idea, not mine.
Oh, we
Anything that happens when it comes to John Mancuda, it's his idea. Trust me.
Yeah, we assume
Like-
that.
Like Gene Simmons, it's all my idea.
And it's it was cute.
It was hilarious. It was hilarious.
Oh, it was hilarious. It was great.
Yeah.
Ah.
Johnny, I was
Outstanding.
thinking like maybe that should have been the thumbnail or should be the thumbnail for the show, but I'm afraid that if somebody sees that scrolling through YouTube,
They'll want to know whose house it is, and I'll get arrested. They'll take my gun away.
Johnny Bean's Nambla channel.
Renus Pinkles asked a couple times, is that a Jackson bass Michael Anthony is playing during 5150 on Live Without a Net?
No,
I need to do a good analysis on Mike's basses on that because I don't really know.
It's actually an Aria Pro 2 bass.
Yeah, I know he played an Aria. He played what was it? A couple of
The Aria-
custom.
The Area Pro 2s were the ones that were shaped like the Explorers, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
played a 5-string. What was it? A Lembeck or something?
No, it's not an Alembic. It's
I've analyzed everything else on Live Without a Net. I should analyze that.
Padula bass.
Padula, okay.
Actually, it's Padula.
yeah, we're too worried about what's on his shirt as opposed to what bass he's
know. Yeah, exactly.
There are some who'd say Michael Anthony never played any bass at all.
That's
Don't underrate. Don't underrate.
not true at all.
Michael.
Yeah, Eddie played bass on 1 or 2 songs on each record, and Mike played the rest.
I don't shoot the messenger.
Ooh.
I'm playing.
I know. I'm just saying.
I'm a fan. I love Michael's playing.
That's an interesting claim, Dave.
Well, except for probably Van Halen 3.
Yeah,
One or
and-
two songs on each album, though.
Yeah, on each album. Yeah,
And I bet he
It's in
played on
Sammy's-
the 3
it's in
tracks on the
Sammy's
Best of Both Worlds too.
yeah, it's in
That's
Sammy's book that way.
Worlds.
Sammy said. Sammy said.
Sammy said that should have been that should be the name of his book.
Okay, so Mike used on the '86 tour. He used an Aria, a Schecter, the Jack Daniels bass. They were all outfitted with Roto Sound strings, changed religiously after every 3 shows. For the he used an apostrophe 5-string bass with a low B string and a Schaefer Vega wireless unit, which he used since '78. So that was the '86 tour. That's the information on the Van Halen Encyclopedia.
Yeah, but he on live
Encyclopedia.
he did use that Padula bass, that 5-string Padula on what is it? Why can't this?
Well, he definitely used a lot more instruments than Ed did on the road. I mean, I think he probably went out with at least 10 different basses that he played throughout that tour. And I'm sure Ed probably had that same many.
Ed had about 15 guitars on the road, and he played the 3 Kramers or the 3 or 4 Kramers he would play. He'd play the 5150 religiously, 95% of the time.
Mhm.
He played the 1984 guitar with the low A string, low A bass string for Good Enough. And then for Dreams, he would play one of the backup Kramers, whether it be the 918V or another one that looks like that.
Right.
And then, you know.
And the Steinberger.
Steinberger, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny's light is fading.
Johnny looks like he's about to tell ghost stories.
Uh-huh. You want to hear some scary stuff?
I'm looking at some scary stuff.
Oh,
You already saw some scary stuff earlier.
I'm never going to be able to forget that.
So you were putting the rope on him while he was in his underwear?
Yes.
it's David. It's fucking brilliant. It was great. It was well done. Nobody expected it. It was really, really well done.
Yeah, you know.
I almost spit beer, and that, I mean, you know.
Again, anything that John does, as long as he's not cursing and saying, you know, vulgar stuff on it, I don't care what he does, you know, behind me.
Behind
what?
Who?
Wait,
Behind me,
what?
In the back of the room there.
Quote, I don't care what he does behind me.
That's what I heard.
Those aren't pillows.
Okay. I'm the butt of most of the jokes anyway. It doesn't matter. One more
So,
joke.
John Boulware says the Jack Daniels bass is a GMW I got in 2000. It's version 2 of the Jack Daniels bass. Number 3 is the Yamaha. Interesting. And then I know Mike has had a few different ones.
Look at this. Look, just now.
What?
Boulware, come on. Somebody type in the chat for John Boulware to get with it.
Catch
Well,
up.
somebody must have paused the broadcast, you know,
Because the chat, he's still reading the chat in real time. So
Yeah. John, I have no one.
The
There's no
chat's always in real
behind
time.
me right now, John.
The chat is always in real time. It's the video.
Yeah, somebody paused the video and it's just catching up.
So, have you guys seen Cameron?
Which one?
Brown or Cooper?
Cameron Cooper
He is?
video on the two 5150 guitars. He does like a 20-minute video on the two 5150 series guitars that they gave.
Mm-hmm.
It is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Have you seen it? You guys have to see it. If you haven't seen it, you need to watch it. It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, not now. Later.
No, later. Yeah, but his playing is just off the charts.
Yeah.
I posted it in the EVH Gear Fans Live Facebook group on Facebook.
Yeah, really good stuff.
Yeah, some of these guys are insane, you know. It's great to see that.
Those are the ones that are tied up in their underwear.
Well, you know, it's been a year since I saw John.
and I love the blue masking
In the
tape
flesh.
on the mouth too. He had the blue
in the
masking tape.
flesh. You
It's
know,
been a year? No way.
yeah, he was here last October, maybe last November.
Don't you guys live like in a close proximity to each other?
Yeah, he was in my house last November or so. Yeah.
No, he's asking if he lived in close
Yeah,
proximity.
you guys live in a close proximity,
Oh,
right?
oh, yeah, he lives about his parents live about a half hour away.
That's cool.
Yeah, but John lives out in Hollywood, right? Doesn't he?
Yes. Yeah, but he came in here for his mom's birthday, and his flight was canceled, and he was on a 7-hour
Layover?
not a layover, but you know, when you have to wait for a flight.
Delay.
No, there's a
Something like that.
Layover.
whatever, and he flew 24. It took 24 hours to get a flight. 24 hours. He was on standby. Is what I was trying to say. And finally got a flight 20 hours later. Missed his mom's birthday, so tonight instead of last night, tonight he took her out to dinner.
In that,
They
like,
came here.
tied up in his underwear?
No, he came here fully clothed.
It's a hell of a present for his mother.
That's not how we left.
Yeah, I was going to say he came fully clothed but left in his underwear.
I'm sure his mother being the typical Jewish mother, like, make sure you're wearing clean underwear.
It's something.
That
You
was
never
funny,
know
man.
what could happen. You could be pulled over on the way home.
I hope he had clothes on before when he was in the car.
John Bolware says, "Thank you. I tried that already and back on time. If that's what my bad calls me anyway, off time." That's exactly what he said.
Punctuation matters.
Yes. Trying to decipher that, John.
Yeah, try breathing.
Here it is. This is it. John BL 5150. Thank you. Period. I tried that already. Period. I'm back on time. Comma. If that's what my bad calls me anyway off time. I don't know.
Yeah, nice try
Exactly.
though. Yeah. Well played. Nice try.
John Bolware, it's all right, dude. Just enjoy the show.
Absolutely.
Enjoy
Yes.
the show. Don't worry about it.
It's Johnny Beans.
Tony wants to know how my visit was with Josco, with Josco's Plumbing Supply. Yes, Josco Plumbing Supply was here today. He picked up a guitar that I made for him, that I built for him. Was in love with the guitar. So he stayed here, I don't know, about 2.5 hours, maybe 3 hours, played a bunch of my guitars. We had a good time. We had a real good time.
Checked all the pipes.
No, but he did have a
There's one pipe he wasn't allowed to check.
Oh,
wow.
Van Cooten was happy to step right in.
Johnny Beane said that.
Yep.
Next he'll be saying fuck.
Oh, I said that once the power went out, I was saying,
Yeah.
stop.
No, you didn't say it, but you did send it in a message on Facebook. I
you saw that, yeah.
I saw fuck PG&E and I was like, oh my God, Johnny Beane.
No, he didn't.
Hashtag potty mouth.
Yeah.
It's all good. So so Jasco was here. It was a great time. He's loving his guitar, and he told me that he's in the very near future he wants me to build him another one. He wants me to build him a flame guitar. So looks like that may be happening. We'll see.
The Steve Vai flame guitar?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I always wondered how stable those were if that wood it was easily splitting on the tip of the flames.
Well,
How brittle they are.
It depends on what wood it's made from. Like mine is made out of maple, and I believe Steve's was as well, the original one.
Right.
So they don't really break. That's really hard wood. Even those thin edges, they're hard wood. So
No chipping or anything like that?
no.
You mentioned that one of Steve's guitars was in hard rock in pieces.
It's not in
the
it's
Crossroads, or
Oh yes, well it's not in pieces, but it's broken beyond repair. I think
so.
that-
Did Steve?
broke.
Oh, okay.
I think the headstock may have cracked. Somewhere it's broken where it's beyond.
I know
repair.
Steve was always really hard on his guitars, but did he ever smash one or anything?
Well,
I don't know.
if you saw the Crossroads movie, he drops
Yeah, I mean he's spinning it around. Yeah.
But
Yeah, but he drops it.
when he loses the thing, he drops the.
Oh,
guitar.
right. And that
And
was
that does have an angled headstock on it too. It's got
Yeah.
a slight angle on that Charvel neck. So
Yeah.
when it drops
that was
down,
what kind of Charvel
It
was
was a
that?
Jackson. No,
Jackson.
It was a Charvel. It was a Charvel. It was like a
Model
maybe,
1, Model 2.
no, it was a 1984 San Dimas.
All right.
Did it have a tiger stripe or like a on the pick guard like a?
No, it's red. It's
No,
straight
okay.
up red.
Yeah, just red. Okay.
No pickguard. It was a candy apple red guitar with a Floyd and a maple neck with a hockey stick headstock.
That's one good to watch
I think
every once in a while. It's a great video.
I think it's a pointy headstock.
Yeah, point. Well, I consider them all hockey stick.
Right, yeah.
If it's like this to me, even though it's pointed, it's a hockey stick.
No, I know. I just know that somebody in the chat or somebody will say it's a pointy headstock. So you go,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, whatever.
That's the scene that they had to go back and shoot because they didn't Steve talk about it on
On that other channel?
Yeah, I thought he mentioned that they had to go back and shoot that scene because something, I guess they didn't like how it ended, so they had to go back and shoot that last scene when he drops the guitar and walks away, which I thought was pretty cool when they have to do stuff like that. They got to get the scene right, the people right, the hair right.
Well, no, didn't Ralph Macchio have a hand double or something? Someone did a lot of
No, he didn't, because none of the stuff he was playing, he wasn't playing anything.
It was all Ry Cooder.
An actor. No hand double at all, because nothing that Ralph was playing was real stuff.
No, it was all Ry Cooder.
Yes, behind the scenes, but anything that you see Ralph playing on that Telecaster, even if it's just the Telecaster in hands, it wasn't real. It was all acting. It
was just whatever he wanted to do on the fretboard.
He was taught when the note sounds high, go high.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah.
It was ghost synced to Ry Cooder. Ry Cooder does.
I know Ry Cooder. Yeah, he played a part on. He did a lot of the Ralph's guitar.
Yeah,
parts.
and then when it goes to that second part where Vi does that second part there, and it kicks into the box patterns on the top of the neck, that's when Vi kicks in. You can actually hear a tonal change from what Ry Cooder is doing to as soon as Vi kicks in, literally the tone changes. I think that's sort of a continuity error on the movie, because
that's a movie they should remake.
No, they shouldn't.
As much as it was great, and no, I mean, and the old one holds up, and I haven't seen it in years, but it's basic enough that it's got a that sort of Crossroads story that it holds up enough. But I mean, imagine what you could do nowadays. Just not that you could take it to any other level, but it would be a cool thing to remake.
I don't think it would do as well nowadays in America because
true, yeah.
And who's going to play that part? I mean, to be honest with you, as sort of niche as that movie is, it was perfectly done. Like, every role was perfectly played in that movie. It was as good as it can get. There's not much more you can do with that movie.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So I don't know that I think it would kind of be a waste of time to do it. I mean, Joe Seneca was great. Joe Morton was great. Jamie Gertz looked fantastic.
Jamie Gertz, yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
I always liked her.
Like, everything in that thing. I mean, even the tiny little pawn shop scene where he's pawning the watch for the pig nose. I mean, everything in that movie is so well done. It was done to the extent that they could possibly do it. I don't see any reason to remake it. It's like trying to remake the Blues Brothers.
Soda and Milk asks if Grover Jackson built Steve Jackson from that movie. I honestly don't know. I would imagine so, but I mean, back in the day, then it could have just been a production model, a production guitar, because there was nothing special to that guitar. It was just
What year was that? Was that 87, 86?
86, I believe.
Yeah, it's a prop.
So it was after the Eat 'Em and Smile tour, probably.
No, it was just around there.
It was probably shot before that. It was probably shot in 84, 85.
Before that, because he didn't. I don't believe Steve had the Green Meanie yet, which wasn't the Green Meanie just at the time. It was still a
1988.
It was a sunburst.
Oh, I'm sorry, 86. 86.
Yeah, it wasn't 88.
I think when they shot that movie, Steve was still in Alcatraz.
Yes. Yeah.
When they shot it, he was still in Alcatraz. By the time it was released, because remember, they shoot movies sometimes 2-3 years before they actually see.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So I think he was still in Alcatraz and still a relative unknown at that point. And then by the time the movie comes out, that's a nice little cameo for those of us that are sort of nerding out on David Lee Roth and his new guitar player, and don't think that didn't help. You know, I mean, let's face it. That's the thing. That's the thing that everybody references from that movie. They don't reference Jamie Gertz. They don't reference Ralph Macchio or any of that stuff. They reference the fact that Steve Vai has a cameo in that movie, is the money shot of that movie.
Well, that's why it's at the end,
right? But I mean, but it's the absolute money shot as far as everybody references Crossroads and immediately says the movie Steve Vai was in.
Yeah.
Filmed all in Mississippi.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I believe Soda asked earlier, but he's been retracting his statements. He asked what guitar I built for Jasco Plumbing. All I will say is it's a custom graphic Charvel style guitar, and one of the colors is yellow. That's all I'll say.
Nothing else needs to be said.
That narrows it down.
What is understood doesn't need to be discussed.
Oh, look at that.
Hey, Showman. Good to see you.
I've been beer dry for a while. I'll be back.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to split soon.
It's the Phoebe Cates in a bikini in Crossroads.
Who's in a big?
That was
That
Fast
was
Times.
Fast Times.
I've only seen the end of Crossroads. I've never seen the entire movie.
You got to watch the whole movie because it's really good. I mean, it's
Yeah,
really
it is.
good. It's blues based. You may not be interested in the blues, but it's really well done.
Yeah, I got to watch that again. It really was it was one of those movies that back in the 80s and 90s it was always on HBO or one of those Showtime or something like that. And you could always catch it.
Wow. Renus Pinkle has a great question, like a really good question. It says, how much is too much to spend on a guitar? Good question. And my answer is whatever cap you have in your mind is what's, anything more than the cap you're willing to spend is too much. If you have $300,000 to spend on a 59 Les Paul, then by all means do it. If you have it,
Or if you've got $300 and you've got the time to look around and find a really great deal, you can find something great for $300.
Said how much is too much to spend? Anything over the amount that you're willing to spend. That's really the answer.
How about this? If you can't pay your mortgage or rent, that's when it's too much. Even though I've gotten ourselves in trouble too. So
I mean, I'm always in trouble. Look at my room. I can barely pay my bills.
Can barely see the road from the heat coming out.
Everybody will see soon, but I had to pull the trigger on a guitar that I wasn't expecting to pull the trigger on. Well, I wasn't expecting it to drop into my lap, so to speak.
Good catch.
The value of the guitar is a lot more than what I had to pay for it. And in that sense, I had to pull the trigger. At the time, like right now, we can't really afford to do it, but I had to do it. It was like an opportunity. Like, hey, this guitar, the value of it,
too good of a deal,
more, huh?
Too good of a deal for to pass up.
Too good of a deal, and it's a guitar that I've always wanted, and everybody will know about it soon.
Yes.
Oh, what the?
Renus Pinkle also said that he's looking at a Jackson PC1, but can't bring himself to spend the $3,000. It's not the affordability; it's just the sticker price. It's the sticker price. Well, Renus, I got to tell you, that guitar, those PC1s are amazing, and they have a lot. There's a lot of guitar for that amount of money. You have a sustainer. You have usually a beautiful quilt maple top. You've got an amazing now roasted maple neck on those things. It's just there's a lot of stuff going on for that guitar. Gold hardware, gold Floyd Rose. I believe it's a DiMarzio Super 3 in the bridge. I'm not sure what the middle pickup is. I can't remember. Is it maybe a blade? I can't remember. But it's just a lot of guitar for $3,000. Yes, $3,000 is a lot of money no matter how you cut it. It's a lot of money. But if you're looking for a lifetime guitar, getting a PC1 is a real good choice. Really good choice.
What do they go for used?
23, 24, 25, depends on the top. Like the EVH Music Man guitars. Depending on the top and how clean it is how much it goes for.
Yep.
Fruitcake says,
and obviously demand. Obviously,
And the color, because
if the timing is right.
If you find a green chameleon one, they're very hard to find. It's probably the coolest color of the bunch. They're going to be the most money.
Fruitcake Tony says, Dave. Oh, I'll read it for you, Dave.
Yeah, please, because I'm having trouble. I'm in a spot where neither pair of my glasses really work.
Put them both on.
No.
a customer of mine who doesn't play guitar gave me a guitar in a crappy cardboard case. Got it home. It was a '62 Gibson Robert Johnson LG.
LG1.
He said he took it back that night. He was clueless.
Wow.
Well, that's
pretty cool.
You're saying you gave it back to the guy?
Obviously, he didn't know.
Respectable. Yeah, he didn't know what he had. That's respectable.
To have this
Honorable,
guitar if you
definitely.
want it, and that is respectable.
Yeah, those are cool guitars. They're pretty expensive. They're very small, but they're
Acoustic?
very loud.
Like a parlor kind of acoustic?
It's a parlor size acoustic guitar made by Gibson's, probably a sunburst color. And they are like cannons. They are so punchy. They sound great.
Our friend Dane had, and I grabbed it from him, one of those Gibson Nouveaux, which is not a particularly vintage guitar, but they made so few of them, and he gave it to me at such a price I couldn't let it go.
Now I don't know what that guitar is. What is that?
The Gibson Nouveau is it's an acoustic that they made in the mid '80s. They cut them in Japan and then sent them to, I think, Bozeman to have them assembled. They made about 135 or 138 of them, and then shifted the Nouveau line to Epiphone. It was based upon, I think the suggestion was B.B. King suggested that they make these in tribute to Art Nouveau, the jazz, the guitar player. And I have it. I'll grab it if you want to see it. But it's literally, they only made less than 140 of these guitars. And when Dane came into one, I'm like, oh, I got to have it just because of the weirdness, the rarity of it. I don't know that it will ever be really worth anything, but it plays really, really well. It sounds really big and booming like you would expect a Gibson to sound. And I love the fact that they didn't make many of them. It's just kind of a cool, and you never know. Somewhere down the line, maybe it does pop. Maybe all of a sudden, because it's a Gibson and because they made so few, it does pop. But I didn't buy it for an investment. I bought it because I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go. There's the Nouveau.
But it's branded
Headstock.
Nouveau, yeah. It's
Nouveau, but it says Gibson on the diamond in the middle.
Belle Biv Nouveau.
Yeah, but they didn't make many of them, and they only made them for less than a year in acoustic. And the way it's always been presented, then this is all legend, but the way it was presented was the profit margin on a guitar that they cut in Japan and then sent to U.S. to build wasn't high enough, so it didn't make sense to continue making them. So they made them as Epiphones and then just made them overseas and did everything overseas instead of having it done in America.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
It's a cool guitar, but you're talking about somebody doesn't know what they have. This thing has just been sort of sitting there, and it's a Gibson, and you can find them cheap, relatively cheap for a Gibson guitar, and it sounds like a hummingbird. So nice and big and boomy.
Yeah, it looks like it has the same body style, like a dreadnought or.
And the fretboard is ebony.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, cool little acoustic.
So the chat looks like it's frozen.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I looked on. I was looking on the YouTube feed because for those that are in the chat, we don't see the YouTube feed. We're seeing it on StreamYard, and the YouTube feed looked a little blurry. Looked like there was something blurry happening. Now that could be any of our Wi-Fi.
Johnny's, because the Wi-Fi is probably shoddy because it's outside.
Right.
Johnny,
Yeah.
how you doing over there?
Hey, I don't know. We're trying to figure it out. My car battery might be getting low.
I was just thinking if you start your car, it might hiccup.
Yeah, why don't you start your car?
Don't you have some candles out there, Johnny? No
But
candles.
it might hiccup the power.
I doubt it.
We'll try it.
Not if it's a good transformer. Don't you have a Variac over there, Johnny?
No, I need.
Uh-oh.
The thing is, if I start my car, I'm going to have to stop this and then restart it.
Why?
I don't think I can start the car with the thing attached to it.
Sure you can.
Why not?
I
Do
don't
you ever
know.
have your phone plugged into your car?
Well, like the other night when you ducked out and you stopped your stream, it worked. So shouldn't we be able to keep going if you get knocked off?
Oh, that's. I don't know.
Right? Didn't you? You were completely off for a half hour or so the other night. I think Tuesday night.
Oh, but I had it. How did
Phil
I do
Mosley
that?
Music says you can, Johnny.
Huh?
Phil Mosley Music says you can.
Yeah, because all that's
something
going to happen is the DC is just going to be charged by the alternator.
Let's get into car talk here, folks.
No.
out of here.
No.
All I'm thinking is if when you have something plugged into like the cigarette lighter, like a phone charger or something, and the second you hit the ignition, the power gets cut off for a second.
And
But
isn't there
because-
a battery backup in most? My modem has a battery backup that, at least, I don't know, for when the power goes out, it stays on for a little while. It's got one of those NiCad batteries that comes out of it.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I mean, I have a feeling as long as this is running, even if I as long as I don't hit end, hit the end.
What's that?
Bless you.
Coughed.
Whatever. Well, I heard that sound and I saw him yawning, so I couldn't tell what.
Oh,
No, I just coughed into my hand.
Bullshit.
No, it was a real cough.
No, I have a feeling if I don't hit end broadcast, this will keep going
okay. So then join
up
up.
until I log back in and end it. Well, we got tons of hamsters in the wheels.
They're little tired hamsters.
We got 81 watching right now.
It's
34
time to
thumbs
get
up.
Ted to fucking earn his keep.
All right. So
Hit the
let's
thumbs
do
up
a,
and subscribe.
let's do a science experiment. Johnny, are you on your laptop right now?
Mm-hmm.
Can you carry it outside and show yourself starting the car to see if you stay on with
He'll
us?
probably lose the Wi-Fi signal, right?
Well, no, if he's on his laptop, then
No, I
it doesn't
wouldn't-
matter what happens because the battery backup on the laptop is going to be fine. You're not going to get an interrupted signal at all. It's
Right.
like plugging your battery, your laptop. In and
Yeah,
out
it'll
while
just
you're running
pause
off the
if the
battery.
because there's laptops lose Wi-Fi every
The
once in a while.
Wi-Fi
Anyway.
is plugged into the car.
You're fine, Johnny. Just go start the car. You'll be fine.
The Wi-Fi.
What's the worst that can happen? You have to restart the show.
Yeah, which as long as there's Wi-Fi, I can. Yeah, it's no problem. Any Ralph Macchio fans out there? No.
Hell yeah, he was in what was he in recently? There was a show on. No, oh yeah, the Karate Kid, the new Cobra Kai, right? He was in the new Cobra Kai on Netflix, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we going to restart it?
He finally looks old.
He's
Does
the
he,
same
though?
age as that old guy
He
was,
looks doesn't he look the same age?
right?
Yeah, he must. Yeah, Pat Morita.
He's the same age as that guy.
He probably was. Yeah.
Okay, I think we're going to try to restart.
The tension builds.
Just start the damn car.
Well, here, let me.
Start the car.
His car is going to turn over. Leave me alone.
Mancuda. 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 Mancuda.
Hakuna Matata, Hakuna Matata.
Yeah.
Kuna Matata.
And we knew that was coming. I'm sure he's never heard that before.
Oh.
What are you afraid?
I don't know what's going on.
What are you scared, Marv? Are you afraid? Remember
What
from,
are you, chicken?
from Home Alone?
Johnny,
Wait, I'll take you guys outside with me because I can.
Johnny, what are you, big timing us?
That's what I said.
Um,
Bring the friggin' thing out.
Johnny turns the key, the car explodes.
Oh, I don't mean to laugh, but that's funny.
It's like
That's
it's
not
like,
funny.
It's like that scene in in Goodfellas.
If you're thinking like a cartoon explosion where he comes back in the next scene, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, burnt.
Yeah, the cartoon explosion where he comes back and his face is all soot.
Yeah.
And he just like Daffy Ducks us. I don't like you.
Phil Mosley said, "Mancuda my tatas."
Gross.
Oh. All right. What? Huh? Yeah. Oh, it's Nesdal playing. Okay, see, look. Look at this. Here's the inverter. Yeah, I'm not. This is all true. So there's the inverter hooked up to the battery of the car.
Excellent.
That's
That's being resourceful.
That's how we're running this. Yeah.
that's crazy.
No, that's dedication. I mean, seriously, if YouTube was looking for an example of people who are like dedicated to making sure that their stream works and all that stuff, I mean, it's as good as it gets.
And to top it all off, the fact that your wife is cool with you doing that's the shit.
Oh yeah, I think it was her idea.
I
According
think
to
have
Joe.
like a digital display on it. And
He
everything.
actually did it for him.
It's a nice looking
Yeah,
inverter.
because Johnny probably doesn't know how to do that, right?
Yeah, I don't think Johnny knows how to spell that.
Yeah.
Good
For
friends.
Walt,
This
that's
is
a
all
nice
about.
looking.
That was the wall.
I need one of those.
Now I'm guessing that has the battery backup in it.
I don't know.
Actually, yeah, it probably does.
1,000 watt power inverter.
Man,
That's
you
what
could
it's
probably. You could. Oh crap!
So are you going to start the vehicle or what?
Johnny, are you a prepper?
You might blow that thing up if you started with it hooked up.
Well, we all want to see it.
Kablooey.
I don't. Well,
If you've got a DVR, if you've got a way to record on your computer, now would be the time to hit start.
there's a screen there that says stuff.
What does it say?
I'm trying to get it.
Wow.
And things.
Where's the camera?
You got to hook that up to your amp, to your tube amp, and
There
see
it
what
is.
kind of a sound you get from that.
You have 13 minutes left.
No, that's the watts.
No, I'm joking.
Your wife's telling you that's the watts. Come on, Johnny.
It should tell you how much power you have in your battery, obviously, like any other altimeter will do that. Shit, now we're in the car talk.
Altimeter. How high are we? It's the altimeter. The altimeter.
No, you're not. Can you? Are you going to restart?
35,000 feet.
Can you do that?
Yeah.
I don't think we should. Probably disconnect it.
Disconnect?
The battery.
Okay.
Does it say how much of a charge and how long it will last? Does it say how much life is left in the battery on the display?
It says 13 watt 5V USB.
5 volts USB.
5
Well,
volts.
yeah. So that's what it's sending out to the
14 watt.
or to the.
13. It keeps going between 13 and 14.
But it doesn't say how long the battery will last.
It's just
Any
on
kind
the-
of like a.
It's on the lowest. Oh, there we go. Wait.
1.21
charge?
gigawatts.
Yeah.
Yeah,
21.
bit.
We can't see
On the
any.
last- Yeah, it's hard to see.
We can see it when it's blue.
Okay. Okay, I think I can disconnect and you guys will still be going. Let me know in the chat.
Well, somebody just
Change-
will text you on your phone to let you know.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead and actually, yeah, I think everything will be fine.
I think you should just start it up. It's not going to blow anything up. I mean,
Dude,
Fruitcake Tony is the fun 1.21 gigawatts.
I just
How do
said,
they power?
Yeah. Jay just ripped that off.
Power, they have a
Fruitcake Tony is copping Jay's gig.
Oh man, that's
Oh.
funny.
I got
Look
your
at
back,
this.
Jay.
come on,
Look
Johnny. I'm a licensed driver's ed instructor. I know how to do this.
My neighbor has a generator back there. You see that? See that? That's their window.
how
I got-
long is your extension cord?
It's not that long.
She said.
All right.
By the way, I feel the need to correct myself. I said altimeter. I meant ammeter.
I don't know what either one of those is, so you're fine with me.
Or
Yeah.
alternator.
No, ammeter. An ammeter tests voltage, and I said altimeter because, and you caught it on, John. It's not. We're not
Okay,
trying to
well, hang
check
on.
anybody's altitude.
Yeah, disconnected. All right, I'm gonna disconnect.
Oh man.
No, it's this one. Bam, bam, bam. Bam, bam, bam. Bam, 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 bam.
Well, it appears we're all still here.
Is he gone though? I don't think he's gone. I could.
Gentlemen, start your
He's
engine.
frozen. He's out of here. We lost Johnny.
It's all right. Well, we're still on, so we can talk.
Not Johnny.
The dog paw. This is fun. One of you will electrocute yourself.
Let's hope this
LOL.
didn't happen when he started the car.
Yeah, you don't want to mess with electricity. That's scary stuff.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah. I mean, I honestly, I know a guy who lost both his arms to an electrical accident.
Oh, that sucks.
Way to bring the room down.
No, I'm not bringing anything down. Anyway, let's bring it back.
What do you call a guy no arms and no legs hanging on the wall?
Bob?
Art.
No, that's when he's in a pool.
Johnny Beane.
Tonight is the anniversary from '91 when Edward played his yin yang guitar in Montreal.
He played that the whole tour, though.
Did he?
Yeah.
He says that. I read somewhere it was a quote that it was Matt Brooks, or who was it Matt his tech at that time?
Yeah.
Let me see. Yeah,
I
guess it
played
was.
that for the encore of almost every show that tour.
Well, okay.
Johnny says we are restarting.
All right, so we did lose him.
He's restarting, or the whole show's restarting?
I think it seems to me like his wife knows what she's doing more than he does.
I know.
She's restarting.
Yeah.
What I like is I think we've lost John, and the show is basically running without any control now.
Yeah.
It's all good.
We're on fire! We're on fire!
I'm giving the signal.
Oh, Lord.
Hilarious.
Kill me. She's probably sleeping now, woken up again.
Who?
That's right.
Oh.
What'd you think I said?
Well,
Yeah, I didn't realize the inverter, he had it connected directly to the battery. So in that case, when he started the car, it wouldn't affect. I thought he
don't you usually go through the cigarette lighter or something?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what you normally do. Yeah, they've got like the DC plug that you plug into, like a utility plug.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had one hooked into the van we had years ago. And I had an Xbox and a little tiny 15-inch monitor hooked to it, and I mounted it to the back of the van.
Remember when they used to have vans with like TVs and everything in them, and you could never get reception? Right? My neighbor had one of those. And it was cool until you realized you could never get reception anywhere.
When I used to be a season ticket holder in Oakland, people would bring satellite dishes on tripods and literally set up the satellite dish,
Really?
and DirecTV and a widescreen
In the parking lot?
In the parking lot.
Wow.
And they knew how to align the dish to get the DirecTV Sunday ticket.
I was a Dish Network tech myself, and
so we could watch.
It's not too hard to do
the
that.
early games. Yeah.
Jay, you want to finish your story now?
I don't even know what I was saying.
That you had a TV in the corner of the
Oh.
and then all
Conversion van, but not really a conversion van. That's
Shaggin' wagon.
that was it. I just came to your rescue for no reason.
I don't even know what the hell I was getting at.
Okay. All right, bye.
Basically, that's what it was. We just had one plugged into the cigarette lighter and ran everything off of that. So I wonder if Johnny even had to hook it up to the actual battery. You know?
Yeah.
What is it? By the way, a legitimate guitar question from Wednesday Store. Anybody heard of Grassroots Guitars?
I've heard of them.
I have heard of them. I've never played one.
Chapstick break.
Really?
Oh.
Sorry, I had something. But
You don't know how
When-
goofy you look putting on chapstick until you actually see yourself putting on chapstick.
So Dave, that so what I read was 91 10 27 91 October 27th 91 was at the Nassau Coliseum. I don't know if you were at that show.
I was.
That's the quote that I had from that Ed plays a black and white Ernie Ball Music Man with the yin yang that was belonged to Matt Bruck. But that's just a trivia piece that I found on the encyclopedia.
That might be the first night that he played it, but I believe he played it pretty much the whole tour. But Matt was on the road with him, so he used it as the encore guitar.
Yeah, one of his other backups, I'm sure. And also tonight there's a couple anniversaries tonight. Montreal '82, which is one of the first audience videos that's still out there. It's Florum at the Forum. If anyone has that DVD, so I was watching some of that tonight, and Ed. It looks like Ed is playing now. Dave can help me on this. I noticed it looked like he was playing the Frankie, but
No, it's the Kramer ad.
so he was playing the ad guitar.
Yeah.
Throughout pretty much that whole show.
Yeah, he played that guitar when they were out of the country. He played that guitar, and the Frankenstein was home.
So Montreal in Canada, he played that then.
Yeah, played that in Canada and in South America in '83.
Okay, interesting bit of trivia. I didn't know that. So when the history of the ad guitar, when did he start playing? He played that only on starting in the '82 tour.
Yeah. He played it in '82 and '83, and then after
and it was
those shows in '83, he gave it to his tech, Rudy.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I don't think
he always wanted one of Eddie's guitars. Like he always wanted. He had asked Eddie, if he could have one of his guitars, and Eddie was like always apparently said no, and then he presented that one to him as a gift.
That's a nice gift.
Yeah.
We were talking about this last week. The backdrop with all the speakers. Actually, it looks like they used it in '82. But it's just it's a canvas backdrop that would come down after the encore. I knew I had seen a picture of it, and last week I was looking through I thought it was an '81 picture, but it's actually '82.
Fruitcake Tony asks, when did New York promoter John Sure pass away? I don't know. I didn't know him. Honestly, don't know.
The big Long Island producer is Delsner, right? Ron Delsner?
Yeah, Ron Delsner. Yeah. You could probably Google that and find out, Tony.
My only Van Halen nerddom this week is I finally got a copy of the first Van Halen CD with the Target, the old Target issue back when.
Oh, who's showing?
There it is.
Oh yeah, look at that. That's cool.
the old Target release.
Is that the best of? Which one is that?
No, it's the first one. It's the first album. But it was when they were Warner Brothers was only issuing them out of Japan. They were pressed out of Japan. They didn't have a domestic pressing plant, so pretty cool though. That's like my only new Van Halen nerddom. No new guitars, none of that shit.
That was the first compact disc I ever bought. The Van Halen one.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
The Target logos are all very, very rare now. Like they're even more rare than that is when you find one that has like the silver.
It's got the printing, different printing on the disc. Yeah.
Yeah, the disc. It's got like a silver insert around the center part of it. Those are the first pressings.
All right. Since John told us what his first CD was, everyone tell if you can remember what your first CD was.
Yeah, that's cool.
Kiss Double Platinum.
I think it was probably around 89, I would guess. I had my aunt gave me a used CD player that she had used for a while. And as soon as I got it, I went out and got Van Halen 1.
My first CD was Boston Third Stage.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
I don't really remember. I think it was this is going to be funny, but I didn't buy them. Somebody gave them to me. This is before I even had a CD player. Like my brother had a CD player. My parents had like a Laserdisc player or something. And somebody gave me 2 Armored Saint CDs.
Oh, good for you.
And I don't remember which CD was the first one that I bought myself. I do know that when my brother bought a CD player, the first CD that he bought was Steve Vai, Passion and Warfare, which is pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yep.
That's cool. And yeah, CDs, not cassettes or LPs or vinyl. We're talking CDs.
Kiss Double Platinum, and then U2's Under a Blood Red Sky were the first two.
What a great record that is.
Yeah,
Great band.
and the original one that still had the Evita,
Mhm.
the little Evita passage in it that they later had to remove, edit out.
Was that live? Was that the Red Rocks? No, that was a
Yes.
different.
No, that's
okay.
Red
So that
Rocks.
was their live release with
Yes.
the Red Rocks.
That was the one that really sort of broke U2 big time as being
Mhm.
a band to watch out for.
And they had the video of that too.
Yes, they actually have re-released. They've repackaged that CD with the DVD of the Red Rock show on it.
Did they
but I
show?
think
Did
they've
they
also
do the
edited out-
complete
They've
show?
edited out but they've edited out the Evita part. Apparently, they didn't get clearance for it.
Oh.
And whoever owned the rights to it basically shut them down.
The first time I saw that video of Sunday Bloody Sunday,
And it's raining through the whole video too, right?
Yeah,
as soon as I saw that video, I had to go out and get an all black Strat with a maple fretboard.
Yeah, that was a great.
Big headstop.
one of the few bands that's actually better live than they are on record. I mean, literally, you go to a U2 show, it's like a religious experience where you get 18,000, and sometimes when they play stadium, 60,000 people, and yet it feels like everybody is just sort of hugging each other, knows every word to every song. It's just a phenomenal experience. Tough to explain to people that have never seen that band live how it feels to be at a U2 show. If you're at a U2 show, you feel the show.
I'm going to run through some of the people in the chat's first CDs. Quiet Riot. Renus Pinkle says Quiet Riot, Mental Health.
Metal Health.
Metal Health, yeah.
Well, he says mental health in here. And then he says it was his first DVD was Backdoor Horses 9.
Horses or
I know.
horses.
Johnny Beane says his was Care Bears CD. Dutchy 5150 was Fair Warning. RG Pops was ZZ Top. Hal Face, Pyromania. Phil Mosley.
Great Bon
Iron
Jovi.
Maiden, Live After Death. What am I missing
Live
here?
After Death, yeah, that was a good one.
My chat just skipped all the way till the end here, so I'm just gonna.
Porno Graffiti.
Resicon Battle Rage is on by Deep Purple. Soda and Milk says a Canadian band called Killjoys. The album is Headlong. Zach Dong says Nirvana Nevermind. And so on and so forth. Janice Lawless says the Little River Band.
LRB.
Is that your town?
I wonder, is it named after my the town that I live in?
I bet it is. Aw.
Is the band from South Carolina?
Friday night, it was late. That's the only thing I know from Little River Band.
Wednesday Store says Nirvana Nevermind. Do you guys like Nirvana? I like the album Nevermind.
Absolutely.
I remember like when it first came out and stuff, I liked it, and then I didn't like it for a while, and then I listened to it again years later, and I was like, holy shit. The production is phenomenal on it. That's what I'll say. And it's a great album. It's just a great album.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't call myself like a huge Nirvana fan.
I
Gotta
like
respect
a lot
them.
of-
Stuff more now,
Yeah.
than I did back then.
Mm-hmm.
Am I here?
Yeah. Welcome
Am I
back,
blurry?
Johnny.
Am I blurry? Am I dark? Can you see?
No,
me?
you look good.
Welcome back.
I hate
Yeah, we
Nirvana.
switched-
They get a
we
ton of
switched
credit
batteries.
for something they didn't do.
We switched
John's
to the other car.
Nirvana gets credit for something that Jane's Addiction did 5 years before them.
Well, several bands even,
Yeah.
yeah, Faith No More did
Yeah.
it. They were, I would, the origins of grunge, you could argue that if you even want to call it grunge.
No, I'm not even talking about the grunge thing. It was like, Nirvana gets the credit for being the band that sort of took the alternative to the mainstream. And Jane's Addiction did it earlier, but because middle America wasn't ready for Perry Farrell making out with Dave Navarro on stage, so they took a blonde hair, blue-eyed, somewhat vulnerable looking kid in a sweater. It was really well marketed, but Nirvana overall is super overrated. But they did have a song that changed the direction of music. So for that, you have to, the undeniable or undeniable. You got to give them credit for that.
Yeah, it was all the hype behind it. I mean,
Yeah.
they definitely didn't intend for it to be, as groundbreaking as it was, but the impact.
Right place, right time.
Exactly. And it's a great album. It's a great rock album, we probably all seen like behind the music or classic albums. I think it was that does the whole review of it, which was really cool. I don't. Who was the producer? Anyone remember?
Steve Albini.
Butch Vig, or what's his name?
Butch Vig did some, but I think it was Steve Albini that did Nirvana. Nevermind.
And also, Dave Grohl talks about it in Sound City. I think it was the recording studio documentary. Johnny Beane.
It's dark in here, you guys.
Everything all right over there? The car start up all right?
Yeah. We switched to the other. We switched the power to that whatever that thing was you guys saw to the other car, and then we restarted the other car.
By the way, Sean Zimmerman says that Alice in Chains was my grunge band. Alice in Chains was a hair band, and they saw that it was over and decided, hey, let's jump into some flannel.
Right, that was another one that I think they even had an album before Nirvana, didn't they? Wasn't
well, the first of the grunge bands to make it big was Soundgarden.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Of those big four grunge bands, Soundgarden's Louder Than Love came before any of the other ones. That was the one that sort of put Seattle sort of on the map as being
right. They were one of the first, Seattle,
and then Mother Love Bone.
well, in my opinion, I think Soundgarden was the best of that style. It was just, Chris Cornell's voice. Oh my god!
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, you can trace each one of those big four grunge bands back to a classic band, and obviously Soundgarden goes back to Zeppelin, Pearl Jam goes back to the Doors, Alice in Chains goes back to probably more Sabbathy, and Nirvana is probably. I mean, you could go. It's tough to. I mean, obviously, Smells Like Teen Spirit is friggin' More Than a Feeling. So, they found, and who knew? I mean, Dave Grohl is clearly the most talented guy in Nirvana. I mean, his history with Foo Fighters proves that he's written way better songs with Foo Fighters than anything Nirvana has ever written.
I agree.
You could argue that, but you'd be wrong. Foo Fighters are infinitely better than Nirvana was.
And I really love the Foo Fighters.
Some of their stuff is brilliant. Some of it tends to be a little bit noisy for noise sake, but that's Dave being aggressive. But when you hear stuff like Times Like These goes all the way back to the Beatles.
Well, Kurt Cobain was a huge John Lennon fan. He's on record saying that.
Yeah.
No, I actually, of all the Seattle grunge bands, I think Nirvana was actually the weakest overall. And, oh, by the way, by the time when Kurt Cobain checked out, Nirvana was done. They were going to break up. In Utero was considered a failure, which, by the way, is ridiculous because it sold millions of records. But in comparison to Nevermind, it was considered a failure. They were not getting along. Obviously, Kurt was not doing well with his emotions. Nirvana was on the downslide.
I like Utero better than
I think All Apologies is the best song.
The later stuff is even the acoustic, the MTV stuff was good. That was a great release. I bought that.
All Apologies is a phenomenal song.
Cheers, everyone.
Is Jay gone?
No, I'm here.
He's making a sound effect.
I'm here. I'm tired, boys.
I am
It's been a long couple days.
So you know what I did in the middle of the night last night? I woke up at like 3 o'clock in the morning, couldn't get to sleep. So I came in here and did some Andy Timmons homework for a show.
Let's see it.
How much didn't you know? How much didn't you know from
Nasco's address?
It's not his home address. It's his business. Who cares? He probably would love that.
How much didn't you know from Andy Timmons, though? Because I know you're a fan.
I am a fan, but there's a lot of things that
These are your best friends.
These aren't things I didn't know. They're just bullet points to bring up so I can read when we ask him questions and when we talk to him.
Which is a very smart thing to do because it's easy to get lost in conversation, and all of a sudden you're like, "Oh shit, what the hell was I going to ask next?"
And just remember, we're going to have John Mancuda on with us, so I want to be able to be focused. Doing any,
so we know it's going to go off the rails.
Yeah,
and you never know who Andy Timmons knows, who you may ask to be on the show later on.
Right. Well,
word of mouth matters.
The thing that I'm not too worried about is Mancuda is friends with Timmons. Mancuda bought a couple guitars from Timmons, so they do have a friendship. So I'm sure Andy knows the shenanigans that he pulls.
You hope he does.
Hey, Amanda. Welcome.
We'll see.
Amanda, hug and kiss.
Amanda.
I'm looking for Amanda hug and kiss.
G. Bushnoff has a good question. He says, "Hey Jay, what happened to your Kiesel guitar? Did they finally help you out?"
How is it you don't know the answer to that, G?
Yeah, has he been away for a while?
I don't know.
Or is this
I don't know. Jay, did you have an issue with Kiesel guitars?
My first time talking about it on the show. Long story short, they didn't want to refund my money or help me out in any way. So I filed a complaint with my credit card company. Long story short, again, my credit card company got my money back for me. And they sent back my parts, all my electronics in the guitar. Some stuff was damaged. And after going back and forth with them a few times, they finally agreed to replace the damaged items. So we're all square. No more bad talk about that company. Exactly. But, I'm not going to.
No bad talk, yet there's a big thing.
Yeah, but we all, everybody predicted that your shit would come back damaged.
Yeah, you're right.
And we wanted to think
it's amazing. Yeah, it's
Yep.
What do they call that? Self-made prophecy or something?
Yeah,
self-fulfilled.
That sucks. I just think it sucks that your stuff gets damaged and you have to go through an extra step of nonsense.
Yeah, but you know what? After what happened was I sent, the owner of or I don't even know if it's the owner, but the app operating owner right now, I sent him an email and explained the whole thing and said I'll be discussing my entire experience with your company on the show tonight. We have a pretty good following. A lot of people respect our opinions about guitars and guitar companies. And I said, I'll send you a link to the show so you can join, and talk about it with us. And then an hour later, I got the email saying, okay, we'll replace the damaged items. So
now that was like 2 weeks ago. Have you gotten the
bare knuckle pickups, which the items that were both pickups were damaged. But they emailed me and told me that the order was placed for the replacement. So
you and I hadn't met yet, Jay, but I was talking to Johnny about this situation when we first met. And I was like, Jay, and I'm like, as Dave Nesdahl will point out, I'm starting to get all pissed off. I'm like, what he needs to do is call the attorney general, write a letter to the ombudsman, like all this bullshit that would cause them a whole bunch of aggravation, because that's the worst thing that can happen. It's that you can't just threaten to not use their product. You have to threaten to make a big stink about it. And all of a sudden the bad press is, and let's face it, a small guitar community can go a long way. That ripple effect is massive.
Yeah, it is, man. And like I told him in the email, we do have a pretty good following. Johnny has a damn good following on this show and on this channel. And I think a lot of people that watch, do respect our opinions. And if we have a bad experience with a company, they'd like to know about it. Am I correct?
The guitar industry is not in a position where they can afford bad press. They're already, overall, they're having a hard enough time sort of keeping interest to the next generation of kids. The last thing they want is a bunch of old guys saying how it was better then and sort of lifting our leg on what's going on now currently. I mean, look at what's going on with Gibson. They're continuing to try and dig out of decades of the, of Henry's mismanagement of the company, which, by the way, the guitar division wasn't their issue. Their issue was that they divested to the point where the coffers got too thin and they got into places that they had no business going to instead of just building guitars. Why is Kiesel no longer carving?
I think it's just because the son took over, because the grandfather, I guess, was Carvin or whatever, Kiesel Carvin, whatever. And when the son or grandson took over operations, I think he just wanted his last name, which, whatever.
Yeah, but when you've got a brand, that would be like, let's say, I mean, there's a reason why Fender held on to Leo's name. You know, you've got, if your brand is strong, if you've got a brand that's worthy of.
Was the Carvin name that strong in for mainstream guitar players though?
Sure.
I think
it was
a decent,
respectable.
Yeah, and I think that Steve Vai being a signature artist probably didn't hurt them. You know, Steve Vai's those legacy amps sold pretty well. I mean, that was sort of his version of PV's 5150. So I mean, Carvin wasn't.
And they were the early, really,
premier.
you know. Yeah, but they were the early, like, kind of, you can get any kind of custom guitar. You can get anything you want, any pickups, any bridge style, any wood, any paint. That was Carvin.
Yeah, but it was
the Carvin catalog here, you know. Tons
So
of them.
why would you?
Everybody loved the Carvin catalog.
Why would you relaunch a brand? I mean, obviously ESP sort of had their budget brand being the LTD, but you still knew it was ESP.
Mm-hmm.
Kiesel is almost like they tried to create a second guitar brand. For a guitar brand that was not exactly a premier brand to begin with. So why not just make a good quality guitar under that brand name? I mean, obviously, you know, when the air comes in, it just seems a little egotistical to change your guitar company name.
Well, I'll tell you this, in the metal community, when it was Carvin, I really didn't see any of those guys playing Carvin guitars. A couple. But nowadays, you look in the
Vito Bratta, he's one of the
especially like the extreme metal stuff. There's a lot of guys playing those guitars.
Craig Chiquico played Carvin, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah,
here's the endorsees.
Yeah, Craig Chiquico played Carvin. They had some decent names, but you're right, Jay. In the metal world, and let's face it, the death metal, the downtuned, detuned metal world, they want a brand of their own, and they don't want to play something that is associated with something that's not cool in their world. So yeah, there's probably a valid reason for changing the company name.
Yeah.
Were those pages stuck together?
I think
this is a well-worn catalog. Look at it.
I remember that one, man.
White stuff on that guitar.
93.
Look at the epoxy all over that.
I enjoyed the hell out of this catalog.
That's what she said.
Look at the Carvin stack. Who didn't want one of these back in the day?
I didn't want one of those back in the day. Carvin, it's funny because the Carvin amps didn't get anybody's attention until the VAI showed up on the.
Right.
Do you know anybody who had one of those legacy amps?
No, but you can get them for a nice price on like Facebook Marketplace and shit like that. I mean, they're, you know, for what you would pay $600 or $700 for a Marshall or a a 5150 head, a used 5150 head, you can pick up one of those Vi Legacies for like, you know, $400 or $500.
Really?
You can.
Hey, Danny McBride is an endorsee. You guys know Danny McBride from what was that show on HBO?
Oh, Eastbound and
Down.
Yeah, not really. Does that say Danny McBride? Danny Krella.
Is that what's on Amanda's? Never mind.
There's a huge endorsement. Tommy Gervin. When I say to myself, what kind of guitar do I want to play? I think, what is Eddie Money's guitar player playing?
Hey, I have one of his picks.
What is Eddie Money's guitar player playing? When I think, God, what a shredder. I saw Eddie Money the other night, and this guitar player fucking killed.
Soda and Milk says he has a Vi Legacy 100 VL.
How do you like it?
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
Crunchy.
Here's the bass player.
Sound awesome?
Huh?
Do they sound awesome? Vi Legacy?
Vi used it. His were not modified. His were right out of the box. They sounded good.
I mean,
I used to love the Carvin catalogs. Those were cool.
For all of the things that people say about, you know, high-powered, you know, high-output, high-wattage amps, Vi gets a phenomenal clean sound. So if that Legacy gets you that clean sound, that's a great endorsement right there.
Did he use stock Carvins?
Yes.
Amps?
Yeah.
John Sauce. Let's get the Vi amp here.
Find another magazine with it on there.
Hey.
So yeah, as loud as hell, but just collects dust.
There we go. This is the Carvin amp.
If you want to sell it, let me know.
Renus Pinkel says that the Legacies are almost a one-trick pony. You can't not.
Is it a Legacy then?
But I think that's why you're buying it. I think that's why you buy that. I don't know many people that are buying the 5150 that say, "Hey, I don't want to sound. I don't want to have that crunch." I think you buy it because that's what you want.
Look at that pickup. How many pole pieces are on that? Is that like
Well, the
is it 12?
50, that's all you get.
22?
You know, the amp has one sound, really.
Right.
You know.
12.
Yeah, see, Headstock Harem says he sees a legacy head for $385. And the idea that you can get a decent tube amp for that kind of money is insane. You can't get some of the AVTs for that.
Wow.
Garbage.
They made quality products. I mean, when it was all hand wired and hand built, wasn't it? And all tube.
Hand what?
Hand shake.
Hand
Wired.
Johnny, what are you?
Commander Wide.
I'm sitting here in the dark. You know?
I see that.
He's in the dock.
I mean,
Darkness is.
He's in the dock.
Life isn't easy on the singular side.
How you doing? What's going on?
Yeah, Renus Pinkle says Neanderthal, in my opinion, the 5150 doesn't do classic Van Halen that well. I would use a classic VH.
It doesn't do it. It doesn't do it at all.
The 5150 is a metal amp. I mean, if you think about it, you know.
5150. 5150.
5150.
Well, we've talked about that. Eddie's tone changed at a certain point that was way overdriven to the point where he lost the brown sound.
Oh, it's horrible. And in 2015, it was the worst.
Yeah, the buzzsaw.
Yeah, it's tough. It's
Johnny,
tough.
was it? You were talking about
The boot.
some studio pictures from last night. I didn't know if these were the ones you were talking about.
oh yeah, no, they weren't. But somebody go into the Discord. Somebody actually put the picture in the Discord, the one I was talking about.
Oh wait,
I think those are like mid 80s, 85. That's probably right after he
That's
built
85 right there. The one I was talking
Yeah.
about from 82, 83, 82. Go
Oh,
into
but
the
somebody found them.
Yeah, go into the Discord and you'll see it. Go into the it's either Johnny TV or Eddie Van Halen pictures.
Yeah, I'll tell you what though, even as blurry as that cell phone picture was, you can tell that Eddie's blood alcohol level was pretty high in that top picture. That top picture, you can see he's just
This one,
he's Chinese.
well, a little bit.
Johnny.
Oh my God. Johnny,
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about. Yeah.
That's his home studio back before 5150.
Yep.
Yeah,
Right
Who
there in the
didn't
living
want
room.
Valerie
Guitar.
Burton
Is he
on his
playing
side?
the mini?
Yep.
The red.
Looks like the Gillette.
that's a full size guitar. Eddie's just really big.
Of course.
As good a guitar player as he still hit the jackpot with that one back then. And even now, she's still pretty
With
good.
Valerie, yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
yeah.
Picture of the family from a couple days ago.
Yeah. Let me
no,
just say that was great. That was great to see. The recent few pictures of Ed. Because honestly, who knew? I mean, we were all kind of speculating. How's he feeling? How's things going? And yeah, I mean the other. Sorry, Paul, but I know what you're going to say. The other side is let's just let everybody see, and let's let everybody. I'm sure Wolfgang and Valerie even were probably saying, come on, Ed. People want to see what's going on, and it could be because he's not doing well that people want to get him out there. But
or he has realized, hey man, what am I waiting for? Let me just go out and enjoy.
exactly, yeah.
Life is too short. You get one,
which is great either way. You know what?
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. There's point A and point B, and those are both predetermined. What you do in between is up to you. So maybe less time in the studio, less time tinkering on the guitars, and more time breathing and enjoying your family and your life. I think it is interesting how close that Valerie is to him these days, and that they're spending so much time. That whole thing is spending so much time.
It's like any woman that he's had in his life, and he's starting with his mother, and Valerie's been with him throughout all of it. Even they seem to have a good relationship, even after they separated. and because not certainly because of Wolfgang, but you know, even like, haven't there been pictures of them even with Janie?
Eddie said himself that after their divorce, they were better friends.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I you know, as a guy who is divorced, and I know that David is dealing with an engagement right now, and other people that are involved in the show are married.
Dealing with it.
No, you know, I mean, he's preparing. Let's face it, he knows that if there's a wedding coming up, he's dealing with a lot of shit.
Yeah.
But when it's all said and done, look, we're better because of them.
Absolutely.
We're better because of them. I mean, you know, my ex-wife, for all the things that didn't go right for us, I wish her nothing but the best. And we need them to make us complete, to make us better people. So if it's in this situation, Valerie, or in that situation, Janie or Eugenia or whatever it is, Eddie knows that that's the most important thing in the world. We're the only species on the planet that doesn't understand that we serve the queen. Whoever the queen is, we serve
absolutely.
the queen.
Absolutely. And Fruitcake Tony says Ed's tone aside, his playing got better and better after 2007 reunion. He thinks it was the very best in 2015. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely agree. I was only talking about the tone of his amp was horrible.
Right.
His playing, his performances were spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
Even in 2012, spectacular performances. But his tone started really going downhill.
Well, how much of that is tinnitus? I mean, you know, when you've been playing for so long, for so loud, for so long, at some point, even though your ears, you think everything sounds good, to your ears, are your ears lying to you at some point?
Well, when you have Matt Bruck as your, not just your personal assistant, but your partner, your partner in everything. Matt Bruck goes wherever Eddie Van Halen goes. And when you have a guy like that, you should have better tone. Because Matt Bruck should have said, Ed, come on, let me help you.
Yeah, but
both of their hearing is probably not in the best condition at this point. Matt has been with them since the 90s.
I don't buy that. Because
how subservient does Matt have to be in the end to Eddie? At some point, I mean, I know they're partners and everything like that, but you and I both know that you're partners to a point. Somebody has to have the final word. Ed's going to get the final word no matter what.
I understand that.
Well, and take somebody young like Wolfgang, who probably has a little bit of input on it too. And
yes, I'm thinking Wolfgang is the brains of Van Halen. It has been since the band.
Yeah, and his tone absolutely has changed. Just a lot more gain on it since the last decade. It's distortion.
Everything after
more than just tone
to me.
Well, I don't think it's all the distortion. I think it's definitely in the EQ where his tone sucks. It's just the EQ. It's you can as you get older, everyone plays with more overdrive as they get older because they want to do less work.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not in the overdrive. It's definitely
just listen to the Tokyo Dome show. I mean, that's the perfect example. That's the one they released officially, and the tone on that,
Oh no, go back.
Ed sounds great on that, but the tone is not. It's definitely not the old sort of brown sound.
Not warm sounding. It's just very bright and brittle. It's brittle.
I would go back to the 1998 Australian MTV show, the one that they did with.
I agree.
That was absolutely atrocious, unacceptable. Not the same guy that had that tone in Fresno, or not the same guy that had that tone in Toronto in '95. The pay-per-view in '95.
I didn't like that tone either. '95,
but you could see it. Everything after Right Here, Right Now Live started to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And to me, 1998 was the absolute worst. It was just Ed completely untethered, with nobody saying to him, dude, back off a little bit. You know what I mean? He was in complete control of that era of the band, whether or not it was his health issues or just being sort of a dictator with the output of the band, and that being as much a solo project as Edward Van Halen is going to put out. The tone was just atrocious on that concert. Terrible. And a guy like that is supposed to know better.
And I'm sure Johnny Beane is biting every fingernail because of all this negative talk we're talking about Eddie. Oh my god! Oh my god! No, I'm just kidding.
I can't even see my fingernails.
And now from Johnny
Wow.
Beane's house.
I can't even.
Guys, in the chat, send Johnny Bean some flashlights and candles, folks.
For just pennies a day.
Fleshlight,
That's right.
Johnny Bean.
You know, Renus Pickle brings up a good point. It's because Eddie stopped using Soldanos.
Well, Soldanos also they're very close in tone.
Isn't it the same circuitry as?
It is.
Didn't they copied? What was it? The Plexi or the?
No, they didn't copy the Plexi. PV copied the
Copied
Soldano,
the Soldano, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
and that's yeah.
I knew it had very similar circuitry to one of the. What's I looking for?
Hey guys, I'm hitting the hay. I'm exhausted.
In fact, you look sick, man. Why don't you go to the doctor?
I don't go to the doctor.
Somebody get me a doctor.
I knew that was going to be said.
Yeah, I'm not feeling 100%.
Well, you didn't have a baseball hat on tonight, so you didn't look yourself.
Yeah, I forgot it downstairs. I didn't feel like putting it back on. Going down again.
Oh crap! What's going on here?
I'm getting a headache.
Getting shifted around. All right, everybody in the chat.
Johnny's just playing Vertigo games now.
And
Take care, Jay.
Feel
Be
good.
healthy.
you guys have a great rest of the night. And
Good luck with your new guitar.
well,
Yeah, I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. Next time we see you, we'll probably see it.
no, you won't.
Maybe.
I told you on the phone what I'm going to do.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
That's right. I forgot. Well, next time you see me, you'll see a new guitar.
Yeah,
Not this one.
maybe that one too, though.
Well, yeah, this one probably will be in my arsenal, but you'll see another one.
In your arse.
My arsenal. I could fit two in there.
All right, everybody. Good night.
Two between the cheeks.
Two in the.
Those are pillows.
Good night.
Yes.
Later, Jay.
Oh.
Bye.
And then there was 3.
You know what's funny is John. Honestly, your mic tone is terrible tonight.
It sounds like this. Johnny.
Yeah.
And then there was
Which
three.
Johnny or me?
No, Johnny. I'm sorry.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
I'm not
you're
using
using
my
your
remote.
computer mic, right?
I'm using the MacBook. The mic's
all right.
horrible. Yeah,
That
it's not
explains
my
it.
regular thing. No, my
All right,
regular
that
thing is not
explains it.
powered up.
Why do you think that extra extra amount of volts on your soundboard is going to make the difference?
I don't know. I'm not using the same computer.
Oh, okay.
I'm on my my laptop tonight. I'm not
All right,
even.
so
on my
you're just
computer.
using your laptop.
Yeah, I'm on my MacBook Air tonight.
Hugh Caldwell says Clapton's best tone was when he was playing through a Soldano in the late 80s and 90s. I agree with you, but Hugh, he was playing
It's
on
in the way that you move.
he wasn't playing on it. He wasn't playing on the
Sorry, that's because that Soldano was featured prominently in that video.
Really?
Yeah, and the what movie was that?
I thought it was on Michelob.
Scorsese video.
The
Color
The-
money.
Color of Money. Was it Scorsese? I think it was. Yeah, that's where I first had seen the Soldano. That was played heavily on MTV, and I think that. Let's see if I can find a picture of it.
I love how there's such a legendary amp, like a name drop amp.
Well, because it's $3,500 to buy one.
Right.
What's that song? It's in the way that you use
The way
it.
that You use it.
Yeah.
Use it.
You didn't use that after that.
Phil Collins and Eric Clapton on that record.
Oops, sorry.
No.
Can't do that. Uh-oh. 51-year-old Paul has to pee.
Soda, why do you want me to go to bed?
Ooh. Yeah, the MacBook mic is terrible.
It sounds all right to me.
Chris, the reason I'm in the dark is because California turned the power off. They did that to everybody. Or PG&E. And so I'm running the show tonight from my car battery. And it's the truth. Rewind it and you'll actually see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I am tired. It's okay. Davy Nesdall in my bed. Isn't that sweet?
No.
It's a little scary.
Ah, so precious.
It is.
Precious. Now I can't find it. I swear there's that video is like, that's the first time I saw Soldano. And you can see the tubes burning and everything in that video, but oh well.
Not in it's in the way you use it.
Maybe it's a different video from Clapton.
Probably in the After Midnight video.
No, there you go. You might be right. Now I got to look at that one. Damn it. Was that a later era Clapton song, or did he redo that?
He redid it.
Was that okay from the 70s? That was from the 70s, right?
Yes. Actually, he did it with J.J. Cale. It's a J.J. Cale song. Also, the song "Cocaine" was J.J. Cale.
Mm-hmm.
J.J. Cale song, yeah.
After midnight, we gone.
Fruitcake Tony asking about whether or not John Biel bought Eat 'Em and Smile. Well, that kind
Did I buy it? Should I grab the album?
Is that something you would be interested in? Are you interested in? David Lee Roth has a solo record. He left Van Halen, you know.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not sure you knew that.
Yeah, he's got one or two.
I have. Hold on.
Buckeye Punchy says, "Why did they quit making Wolfgangs with maple fretboards? Are you talking USA made Wolfgangs? Because they're out of their minds. That's why. Those are the best."
Well, Eddie, strange that Eddie went to the ebony fretboard. There you go.
I don't mind that he went to an ebony fretboard, but why stop making one in lieu of the other?
To force people to buy the other?
I just don't think it's not good business.
Well, I mean,
not when you're making great guitars to begin with.
Now, are you a fan of the Fender EVH?
Yes, I have one.
Okay.
I have one myself.
You have one?
Yes, I've had all of them. I've had every incarnation of them. But and I did like the ebony fretboard ones. I did like them. But my favorite one is the one that I have now, which is the maple fretboard.
Yeah, the only Fender EVH I ever owned was I had a Japanese Stealth that I ended up selling because it just didn't. As much as I love the ebony fretboard, the rest of the guitar didn't feel better to me than either the Peavey or the Ernie Ball. So I was like, all right, well, if one has to go, this one's going to go. That the money that I got from the Fender funded one of the EVH, the EBMM purchases that I got. So
I'm looking forward to getting mine.
You got another Ernie Ball coming?
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
So the one that I'm getting on Monday.
No, but what? No, like what year? What color? I didn't see it.
I have a picture of it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, Tony, I didn't get to see them on in '86.
You didn't get to see Roth in '86?
No, I did not. But I was 12, so I was a little young.
So there's that.
But I would have loved to have seen him. A friend of mine did get to see him at the time in Worcester, and actually some of those videos are on, maybe not on YouTube, but they're online. And I just remember because of the first time I went to see Van Halen in '91, he was, he gave me the whole prep, and he's like, I saw Van Halen in '88, I saw David Lee Roth in '86, and Steve Vai did this whole, In fact, my friend thought that Eddie was in the audience when Steve Vai did his solo, and he said, Steve Vai got right down in front of the stage, and Ed was in the front row, and this was bullshit. I don't know why he was saying that, but and he played Eruption on one hand and all this crap. But it was either way. There is some great footage of the Eat 'Em and Smile tour, or I think it was a Skyscraper tour in Worcester.
It was a Skyscraper tour.
Yeah, my favorite part of the Eat 'Em and Smile tour was Vai in a full sprint going across the stage, and he's playing, and then he takes his hand on the bottom of the guitar, flips it up over his shoulder, and slams it on one of the side risers. You know what I mean? Like the stage risers, which is one that he would go up one of the ego ramps and go to that riser, but he didn't do that. He slammed it on the top of the riser, and then piano style starts playing up and down the neck, and never missed a note, and it was just this phenomenal performance.
Oh God, yeah, the acrobatics,
yeah, it was just so good,
all of it.
Oh, I love that top. That's beautiful, David.
Yeah,
that's beautiful. That's like ocean waving. That's such a beautiful top on it. Nice. Now you've already owned ambers before, correct?
Yeah, I've owned a purple, I've owned a red, I've owned several ambers.
You don't own an amber now?
No.
Is this one that you think you'll hang on to?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a beautiful top. I don't know if you can find a better one than that.
Yeah.
And I'll assume, now, as you know, I started grabbing as many as I could just for collector's points, but they just play so well.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't found one that doesn't play well. There are others that, some that play better than others, but I haven't found one that, on a scale of 1 to 10, I've never had an Ernie ball that goes below an 8.
I'm very particular with my action. I like it low, and on those guitars, it's very hard to get them low. They just because the Floyd Rose is a 12-inch radius, and the neck is a 10-inch radius, and to get the low E and high string it's impossible to get them very low.
Right, and then obviously you got that drop off on the high E.
Yeah,
with that difference in radius, so which is always a challenge.
It's very tough, and that's why I don't hold on to them. But this one's just too good looking to not keep.
Now, are you a big bender? Is bending part of your playing?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. See, if it's not part of your playing, if that's not part of what you do, and that's not an intricate part of your playing, and becomes second nature to what you're doing, then it's not a big issue. But if you're one of those people that likes to dig in and bend, I can see where that drop off would be a problem.
You still awake? I'm coming in like 5 minutes. I can't come on.
Poison did open for David Lee Roth, Renus Pinkel in 1988.
Yep.
Johnny. Bye. I love you too. See you in a few minutes.
The frets, Renus Pinkel, the frets are all great on my Ernie balls. They're all really good, and I don't know that the fret jobs have been done because, they're all used. So I don't know when none of them need to be done. Let's put it that way.
So is your black one near you? Is it anywhere where you can?
I can get it within minutes if you want.
Yeah, can you grab that? I wasn't on the show the night that you showed that off.
Yeah, we're timing you, Paul. Within minutes. So since last week when I showed you guys the stage model that I built, I've been slowly kind of exploring the community of model builders, and there are, look at that. Is that Lemmy or Ace? But there is quite a community of builders out there that do stage replicas, and a lot of them are actually like kind of Broadway. Like there was one guy that did like a whole Wicked stage setup. He did what's the other one? Newsies. So some of the Broadway stuff, but there is a community, and there's actually, if you start looking into model sites and model, even model railroad stuff, there's like a lot of stuff you can buy that will that could work kind of crossover for concert stage sort of stuff like trussing and that kind of stuff. So eventually, I'd like to definitely take it further and really get into some detail and do it for real. like
That's
like I said last week.
You know, I know we were all razzing you and stuff and making fun of you, but that actually was very cool.
Here's my 124th scare Marshall stack.
Beautiful.
I threw that together earlier tonight.
Very funny.
Just tape and
Oh,
styrofoam.
cool.
No. You, John, you being from Boston, you know that the ball busting comes from a place of love.
I don't give a shit. Yeah, of course. I don't care.
There was nothing but love going on with that.
And I own it too. I own the nerddom that I project.
No, you knew what you were getting into.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean,
so
all
right, David,
I'm
there
just
you go.
gonna have fun with it.
David, here's the black one that started out as being owned by somebody that a kid named Chris.
Yeah.
Who bought it, and literally within 36 hours had decided he didn't like it. And
he didn't like it for the same reason that I don't like those things, because he just couldn't get the action to where he wanted it.
And yet the action's not bad. I think it comes down to how you with your hands dig into the guitar.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like your touch is going to be indicative too. Like this, I don't think the action on this is bad at all.
Well, the low E string is a little high. High E string looks good, but the low E string is a little high. Like being totally honest, I think it's just feel wise, it's probably not low. But to my eyes, it kind of fakes you out when your eyes think something is high. It makes you think that something is high. Yeah,
a line, like a binding could make you think that.
Anything over 2 millimeters at the 12th fret is high to me.
And it does look high, but it's also
over two. That's about or over 2 millimeters at the 12th fret.
Yeah, and again, because I am not a delicate, it doesn't mean
it looks very small on you, Paul.
And you play bass, right, Paul?
Yeah, so I'm used to having to fight with a string.
So all of that is, it's all moot, because those strings are way lower than any bass.
Yes. I love this.
Is that Ace?
Or
that's Ace right there next to me. Yeah.
Ace is he did the head tilt. Like, oh, what's that?
But I will tell you this though, I got to get some graphite.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's part of that sound. Honestly.
Yeah.
Eddie would love that. that's part of the sound of Eddie's sound.
Yeah, no, I love the Ernie Ball guitars, and I do love the top on this.
Yeah.
And based upon, and we all know that the serial numbers are not in sequence as to when the guitar was built, but the date on this is September 27th, 1995. So it's one of the last ones built. And sequentially, if you were to believe that the serial numbers are done in sequence, this is the very last trans black Ernie Ball Van Halen model. If the sequence is to be believed, they made, I think they've made 3 or 4 of them on September 27th of 95. And this is one of those 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of the final ones ever made, and sequentially the absolute final one. So I have one of the first, that pink one that I have is one of the first pinks ever made, and this is one of the very last blacks ever made. So that's kind of for me, it's a collectible thing.
Absolutely. And they're all collectible because they're not making anymore. I dare you, go find them.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can see.
Amanda, is that true? You're building she says she's building a model of her bank branch. That's very cool. I love, like I said, I've been watching a lot of videos and a lot of stuff about model building, and there's a ton of resources out there, and it's a great community. It's really cool. If you haven't, and I've followed Adam Savage for several years, who was from Mythbusters, and now he's got a channel called Tested, and he does a lot of model building. Very cool, Amanda. That's awesome.
Yeah, but I think Amanda's building a model of her bank so that she can rob it.
Well, yeah, you got to build a model so you know how to get in and out the vaults, and the doors and all of that.
Ocean's 11 and
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a given.
Yeah. All right, guys, I'm out. I got to go to sleep.
All right, Dave. Have a great night.
Night with y'all. And I just
Looking forward to Tuesday, buddy. That'll be a great show.
Time. I'm just waiting for Andy to call me back tomorrow. Hopefully, he'll call me tomorrow. But he said he'll call me over the weekend.
Not after watching this.
That wasn't terrible.
That was funny. It was very funny.
It was funny. It was all right. It was done with.
Looking forward to see how Mancuda made out.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about Mancuda, so this was tame.
Yeah, right. It was hilarious. That was good, though.
Yeah,
That was great.
yeah. All right, everyone. Talk to you later. Hopefully we'll have a great show Tuesday night, and I'm sure you'll have a great rest of the show tonight.
Later, Dave.
Bye, guys.
See you, man.
Well, I don't know. We're at 36% now.
We'll go until you run out.
Man.
Can't play too much. I can't play
Yeah.
any of it. But no, I love these. The Ernie balls to me are the, and they do. See, the exact John Biel made a good point. I mean, these things look like toys in my hands. I mean, I'm only 6'1", but I'm a person and a half wide. So you get one of these things in my hands. It's Kane Roberts without the steroids.
Yeah.
Wow.
My hands in these things are ridiculously. I don't have big hands. That just shows you how small these guitars are.
Well, they're not 3/4 size, aren't they? 7/8 or something like that, or are they actually 3/4?
It's a 24. I think it's a 24 3/4 scale. So it's the same
That's
scale.
20. Isn't that the neck? The neck is 24.
Yeah.
But the body is a smaller.
Yeah,
like
the body is smaller, but the
you know,
scale.
they would call it like a dinky. This is called a dinky, and this is that.
Wait,
It's
John,
a
you
set.
can't do that. Hang on. You can't keep doing that.
Can't talk about my dinky.
That's a dinky?
We're not showing.
Well,
dinkies
we
on the
can't
show.
see the dinky, so
Okay, we'll show your dinky. There we
there's
go.
my dinky.
And
My dirt. That's my dirty dinky with.
Ew.
Look at all the, everything
And
all over it.
I think that's the thing I like about the Ernie balls mostly over the other ones, which is the fact that they are more round. I mean, the PVs are a little bit more angular. The fenders are certainly more angular, but these ones are certainly bigger.
They are
in the
very
middle.
round. It's like a 335 almost. The bottom roundness of it.
Well, that squeak is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I think when they made those bodies, it was like a combination of like a Les Paul and a Telly.
And a Telly, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But even with my fat hands just dwarf the whole pickup assembly.
Ernie Ball didn't have that shape before Ed.
No, he did actually. These were
okay.
made.
That's what I
before
thought.
Eddie.
That shape was Ed kind of took on that shape as his own, right?
These were going to be the Axis originally, and then they went back to being Axis.
So somebody at Ernie Ball came up with that shape before Ed, right? Is that what we're saying?
That's my understanding. Yeah,
That's what I thought.
I don't.
And they still make guitars in that shape, don't they? They still make the Axis still.
Yeah, but they don't make a lot of the regular Axises now. They make the Super Sports with the pickup selector, the vertical pickup selector, or the horizontal, pickup selector,
Like a
two knobs.
A 5-way.
Yeah, it's a 5-way. I don't, I have an Axis and I love the Axis. I mean, obviously the Axis, the only difference is they improved the neck, they moved the pickup switch, and that's it, man. Other than that, it's the same guitar.
Well, the Axis guitars have a cut in the back.
Yeah, they have the belly cut. They have a belly cut in the back, but to me, that's not a big deal. I mean, I don't feel the difference. All that does is give me a reason to have another cheeseburger
With a belly like that.
Yeah, so I don't care. And they do have the 4 leads.
Sean Zimmerman says it looks good on you, Paul. So
well, thank you.
Nothing to worry about.
No, the black is very slimming. But I love these guitars, but in my hands they're kind of small. But damned if they don't play well, and I'm cool with that. They are.
It's a good looking guitar. Yeah, If it plays well for you, absolutely.
Yeah, and again, Nesdal points out, and he's right. I mean, the high action is an issue for those that don't play bass. Like for me, I don't really play well with a pick. I'm used to playing, with a bass pick, so I'm used to that. So playing with a pick, I'm actually more focused on this hand than I am on my fingers. So the action doesn't bother me. They're I love these guitars. I love them. I have been holding off on potentially buying the one that is way overpriced on Reverb right now, the Natural. I'm just not paying what he wants for it. But if it sits up there for a few months, don't be surprised if I don't tell you, hey, I've got another guitar.
Why not? Grab another one.
Yeah, well, I'll sell one of my Les Pauls to buy another Ernie Ball. It's 6 of one, half a dozen the other. They're both worth about the same. So, a Les Paul is easier to come by than a good Ernie Ball.
Mm-hmm.
Renus, I don't want to put a shim in the neck. I don't need a shim in the neck. To me, the action's not a problem.
Yeah, if it's comfortable for you, absolutely.
It doesn't bother me at all. I love these guitars.
Yeah, I have one, and I've played it for since '92.
You still have your Ember, right?
Yeah, and that's the only one I've really ever played. So when I do play other ones, when I see other ones out there and I play them, it's weird, because they always feel newer to me than mine does. Because mine is like I played mine so much. I've showed it off on here.
Yeah. No, I've seen it. I love them. That's you and Rob and Nesdal having your little, when you guys had your show about all the Ambers, you guys all had Ambers, is part of the reason why I own an Amber.
Oh, wow.
It's like I got to have one now because everyone else has one. And I know that's the most common color.
If those nerds can have one, I can have one.
Yeah, I can have one. I just can't play it.
So I did a little more research and I found out who the lighting director for 86 was. Actually 86, I think it was 84 through 93. David Davidian is now he's tour manager for Alice Cooper and Hollywood Vampires. But he's someone I'd like to get in contact with. I found some of his information online, and it'd be really cool to see if we could get somebody like that, just to have an interview, or even just, I'd love to just ask him some questions and get some information from him. But he's got a huge, if you just look him up online, David Davidian, lighting director, and he's got a huge resume of everybody, all from, late 70s through the 80s and 90s into today. Like I said, Alice, he's touring with Alice Cooper now. So I'll this week I'll email him and see if I can get any information on him, but just to talk to him about some of those
don't you think that
era,
don't you think that building a lighting rig would be a little bit overboard?
Do you think? Or I've actually done some research on Amazon this week as to how I could do it, so I would love to be able to do the entire stage, the lighting, the sound, the trussing with Sammy up above it all. What's that, Johnny?
You just need some of these things.
I mean, yeah, there's. I actually figured on the 5150 tour, I've started plotting out the lighting rig, and right here. So some of the bigger. This is where I got David Davidian's name. Some of the.
Well, that's the tour book.
Exactly, but like, where is it? Like this whole lighting, I'd love to build a couple of these lighting grids, which is actually 6 by 12 par 64 cans, and there's like 8 of them on one level, then there's like 4 of them on the second level, and then there's all kinds of other lights. I mean, you can see it in but But I mean, it would be a huge undertaking to build that lighting system in miniature.
No. You just go and get those plastic colored fake rhinestones like that they use on like
Costume jewelry, like that
costume
kind of
jewelry types. Yeah, you can get the plastic stuff at like Hobby Lobby.
But the little LED, you can get little multicolored LED lights or any color. You could eventually you could actually get them to any color, and they're to scale. They only have to be like I think it was like 0.8 millimeters or something like that. So and they sell them. They sell them. So
or you just get those you get those colored the
Christmas
fake
lights.
rhinestones and stuff like that. No, the fake rhinestones. Oh yeah, you could do that too. The little Christmas lights, but you get the fake rhinestones and then shine white light off of them.
Yeah,
like just get a reflecting light off and get like a little like the little halogen flashlight thing or the thing that Johnny has, and just have that be reflective light so that you get the sparkle of it from while you're watching the stage from the beginning. Okay, Johnny doesn't have much light right now, but
that looks like an operating table right there. Like
yeah,
a 1960s operating theater. But I'm like I said, I'm looking into it, and I'm going to take it as far as I can. I that's just creepy.
You said it's Halloween.
I love it. It's great. So I got a new hobby. Let's just leave it at that.
Nobody's giving you a hard time, John. It's all good.
So Paul, Wednesday's store asks, "What's your favorite body shape, Paul?"
Les Paul. The Les Paul body shape is my favorite. I think the Les Paul is the sexiest guitar ever made.
Not like 36, 32, 32, something like that. No.
I just think the Les Paul to me is slinky. It's sexy. It's real feminine looking. It's just something. And that's
the curves, yeah.
And that said, though, Bonnie Raitt carrying a Strat works too. I mean, I think it depends on who's playing it.
Lead a Ford with a nice Jackson or
whatever. I mean, I think that Leslie West, Leslie West playing the Steinberger doesn't really cut the silhouette that you're looking for.
Yeah, I can see that.
And I think that might be
Ann Wilson with a nice acoustic. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's part of the reason why I like the Ernie Ball as much too, is because it does sort of cover a lot of stuff. It's very forgiving. But it does feel like a toy. I mean, I'm not a small human being, so it does feel like a toy in my arms.
Yeah, I would kind of consider that like a Les Paul body shape.
Yeah, it's very similar.
I mean, if you want to really get down to the basics of body shapes, you got the Strat shape, the Les Paul shape, the SG shape.
Yeah.
And then like the radical shapes, the V, the Explorer.
Pointy guitars, yeah. But this is, I mean, with the exception of this little part right here where your thumb is, for all the intents and purposes, this is a single cutaway.
Mm-hmm.
You get the double cutaway and the single cutaway, and that I don't think that's cut deep enough to really call it a double cutaway, because you really don't have any real fret access up there. It's not like if you're going to go to the high frets, you got to really dig in here instead of being able to get up in here. So I would call this is a minor double cutaway, but for the most part, that's a single cutaway. I mean, save for it's a friggin' Les Paul.
Fruitcake. You want to really get into it?
Go. Have at it, John. You started it.
I mean, we could start talking about stages for hours. I mean, I agree with you that
we got 20 minutes.
Yeah, I know. But why the 86 stage? First of all, Live Without a Net is the biggest reason, I would guess. But it's such a clean, absolutely either way. I mean, but it's just got such a clean look, and it's because of all the footage from Live Without a Net in 1986. That's why I decided, and there's the most information about it. I wouldn't say it's just the 86 fascination. I loved the 80. 82 was boring to me. I was watching, like I said, Montreal 82. And it took kind of the 84, 81 concept with all the cabs on stage. But in 81, they were kind of I would almost say kind of randomized and just put up there. In 82, they made it very streamlined. In 84, they had the risers where they could actually, the keyboards were on top of the amps, and Al had a huge riser. Every era of their, from I would guess sort of 80 through 88, in 91, it sort of carnal knowledge, it kind of got boring again. And then I guess 2007 and 8 was the next really, they had the stage that went out into the audience, like the heart-shaped stage. But I love the 84. There's, I guess to get down to it, there's a lot of information on the 86 stage. That's why I kind of built the 86 stage. There's enough, pictures and everything. Yeah,
I liked the 07 stage. I loved the semicircle, the ego ramps going down the side, sort of hugging Alex's drum kit. I thought it was interesting that Wolfgang wasn't allowed to really go all the way down. Did you notice that, where he didn't really come to the front of the stage?
I figured it was only like Dave's territory,
Well, that's what I'm saying, but it was almost like Wolfgang, and you also got to wonder if Wolfgang was confident enough to come down that far too.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it, your first
Yeah, I've said it before. Public. Yeah. I mean, that kid must have been terrified, and he did an amazing job with what he had to deal with in 07 and 08, The scale Buckeye Punchy was 1/24th scale, which actually, come to find out, is an actual sort of model scale. 1 foot equals 1 foot in real life is half an inch on scale, in the scale.
We're not talking about Spinal Tap.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't
get that wrong. 18 inches, no 18 feet.
18 feet. I think the problem is we have a Stonehenge that was dangerously being trampled by a dwarf. By a dwarf.
Oh man, Ace is just loving that.
He's trying to. He's got a ball, and he's trying to get me to play with the ball. So he keeps bringing this ball over and trying to put it on my lap. And you'll see he's dropped it. So now it's he's going under the desk to grab the ball.
Well, you're playing the Ernie ball.
Now,
the ball and the Ernie ball.
Yes. Yeah, a lot of balls. See, now he's trying to see. There's his ball, and he's just saying, "Hey, man, how about you? Yeah, how about you? What do you say you throw that?"
So just to finish, because Fruitcake is still talking about the 86. The production is, he says, by comparison, it was much smaller production than 81, 82, 84. All of those productions were the same size. They all had to fit into a hockey arena, and the width of a hockey arena is 80 feet, and you have to fit the stage within that. So 72 feet is pretty much the limit of the stage that you're going to build. So I think from that era, the era that they were starting to play arenas, 80 through whenever, they were using the same sort of stage. I mean, here's the 86 stage. Look at the lighting is just amazing. The lighting is, and it was all, stationary lights with spotlights throughout the stage and throughout the arena. I think they had 16 spotlights on that. And I know I'm shaky, but and then the sound system from Clear Brothers, which is really another aspect of the whole thing. I think, you say 81, 82, 84 was a bigger production. That's probably to that date, to 86, that's the biggest production they had. And then they just kept outdoing themselves. And by the 90s, it was a lot of it was automated. A lot of the lighting was automated and moving lights and stuff. So they needed less of the production did get smaller at that point.
And now with those light boards that they're using on stages now, it's so much bigger. They're not really limited to do anything. It's interesting because a lot of people say, well, they got bigger and bigger and they had bigger setups before. But as we mentioned earlier on in the show, a lot of that stuff was canvas backdrops. Whereas in 86, those lights were legitimately staged. And it wasn't a wall of dummy amps with every third one being actually full. That setup was legit. That PA, that was hanging PA, was a legit PA. It wasn't something that was just there for show.
Yeah, this was a backdrop.
Right, exactly.
you know. And again, that's the 82 set, and it was kind of reflecting the 81 set where they did have, you know, just random cabinets all over the stage. In 82, they kind of made it uniform. Right?
That has thumbnail written all over it.
There's
Johnny right there. Yeah, Johnny
Here's
nailed
the thumbnail.
Oh.
You guys doing anything for Halloween, Paul, Johnny?
This is it right here, man.
There you go.
I buy candy. It's funny. I buy candy for my neighborhood, but my neighborhood doesn't come by. Like when I first
So you just end up eating it all. It's all good.
Well, I don't eat a lot of sweets.
Hey.
So I don't really eat it.
I got my my sweets.
I end up bringing it into. There you go. I end up bringing it into work. I just bring it into work. My neighborhood doesn't come to my house, mostly because the kids have all grown up and have moved out. When I first moved here, there were a lot more kids, but now they've sort of grown up and moved away. And my neighborhood's not big on trick or treating. I don't know if it's because all the kids are the same age and they all moved away or whatever it is. Plus, the two big German shepherds. Anybody that comes to the door is a little bit frightened when they get 200-pound German shepherds come to the door, sort of growling. It is arguably the scariest house on the block because I'm the only guy on the block that has big dogs. So they, I imagine some parents don't want to let their kids come to the creepy single middle-aged guy with the two big German shepherds.
Fruitcake still she's talking about the stages. She says, "Well, you make a great point. Ed and Al and Mike were musically at their pinnacle, playing music together during 5150. Their music will never sound as good." So I don't
know about that. I think when they locked in any of those early 80s tours, when Ed and Al are locked in, it's pretty friggin' good. I don't know that there's any way that you can.
Well, I get his point, kind of saying. I mean, and just to take it a step further, they were all happy and they were all they all got along at that time, you know, and beyond Live Without a Net and any time you know the album and you've seen them live, Unleashed really showed that, you know, they were just happy guys, and that's honestly, like, if they were to go out and tour now, that's kind of why I say, jokingly and whatever, you know, Gary would be a good option because they can still get along with somebody like Gary, and, you know, they've kind of burnt out on Dave, they burnt out on Sammy, and at this point, you know, either it's going to go out as a trio and it's kind of an instrumental thing, or somebody else will sing, or it'd just be great to see Ed back out there and having fun, I guess is what I'm getting at, you know. In 12 and 15, they didn't deviate from the set list. They didn't really improvise. And I'm sure they were having fun, you know, to whatever degree, but it wasn't like the heyday of, you know, like something like 86 where they were just enjoying themselves to the fullest. So.
The last two tours seemed like contractual obligation tours.
Yeah, and it was great for the fans, and it was great that they put out a new album and all of that, but or two new albums. But it was certainly nothing like the old days.
There's an argument to be made that everything since Us Festival has been sort of, and other than the first tour, I think the first tour with Sammy was pretty genuine. I think the second tour with Sammy was, they were sort of doing their thing, and obviously the Monsters of Rock thing became such a colossal financial failure that probably left a sour taste in their mouths, as on top of
and all the
what could have been better.
No, and there was all kind of problems with that tour. I mean, they were talking not only. I mean, you read some of the, you know, whenever that tour came through any town, like I guess it was like Akron, Ohio, or something, and even, you know, I've read a lot of articles, you know, about. It was the stadium tour and a summer stadium tour, and one of the big things that kept coming up in all the articles was about food fights. You know, not only were the vendors were charging way too much, but there was, you know, and we've heard about like Woodstock and the later Woodstocks, and you know, charging way too much and people getting aggravated. But food fights was a huge. You read any article about Monsters of Rock '88 coming through, and there was always like food fights, and not only that, but like festival seating and how each different stadium accommodated or set up for the fans. You know, some of them had seats, some of them had, and I guess it was the LA Coliseum. There was like, quote, a riot while Metallica was playing, and all like they had seats on the field, and all the seats were getting passed back way on the field, you know, to make it an open floor. And so all the fans, like, you know, by the end of that show, there was like 100,000 people at the LA Coliseum, and people were just moving again, like on the field, and it became an issue. And there was just a lot of like technical issues on that tour, the Monsters of Rock tour, that you know,
I don't think that they
canceled the show in Dallas and that kind of stuff.
I think that the idea that they put out, and obviously the Fresno show was doctored a lot, but I think that really the Fuck tour was the culmination of everything was right with music and the vibe of the band, and even the time for whatever it was. That 1991-92 tour came right before music changed. It was like the last hurrah for Van Halen's style of music.
It got them over the hump of grunge. I mean, not that they couldn't compete with that kind of stuff, but it got them over the hump, and they were the biggest band in the world in '91. You know,
the argument. Well, Metallica was the biggest band in the
world.
world.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, to some degree.
You're talking about the three biggest bands in the world before grunge happened, before that whole shift in musical style happened, were Metallica, Guns N' Roses, and Van Halen. Those were the biggest bands on the planet. They were the bands that were selling out stadiums. They were the bands that were selling records, that were causing people to, you know, to flood the streets at record stores and all that stuff. They were the last hurrah of the big arena bands of that era. And then, you know, when Van Halen comes back in 1995 in the Balance Tour, grunge had already seen its peak. Like, a lot of people don't realize that when 1994-95 rolled around, In Utero had come out, and that was a disappointing record. Soundgarden's Super Unknown had already peaked and become things. So
you started having bands like
Bush,
you know, some of those other '90s bands that really made a name for themselves, and you know, Candlebox and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but those were the second wave of that grunge thing, kind of like the second wave of the hair bands with the you know, the Warrants and the Firehouses and stuff like that. So it had already had its, you know, the big 15 minutes of that style of music had already peaked, and here comes Van Halen in 1995 with arguably their darkest record since Fair Warning. And by the way, it's still a fun record, but when you start off with the Seventh Seal, that's a pretty dark track. And there's some, and Don't Tell Me was the first single off that record, which was also down-tuned and very dark sounding in comparison to the rest of the record. You know, their timing was pretty well done.
What was the first single from that album?
Don't Tell Me.
And I think we heard that before the album was even released.
Yes.
I was like, oh my God, this is not.
I think I have. Hang on a second. I might have the press of that song, and it's a CDR. They sent it to us digitally, and it tells us, and it says, like, don't play before a certain time on that morning. Hang on, let me see if I can find it. I might have it here. I gotta put this guitar down. Hang on. I gotta watch.
So the album was released on January 24th of '95. And I bought the cassette for whatever reason. I bought the cassette that day, the first day it came out, and I won 2 copies of the CD because at the time, my girlfriend at the time bought radio station tickets through WHEB in Manchester, New Hampshire, wherever they were, or maybe it was what's the other WGIR?
GIR. Here's the Humans Being, and we weren't allowed to play before 7 a.m.
96. So
that's Humans Being. So
cool, man.
Yeah, we were. I mean, that's literally the record company sent it to us, and that was our. You get it. Don't play it before 7 a.m. So we were instructed what not to do, and then of course we have the "Without You" single.
I remember that.
It says singles for Balance. Seventh Seal was released in '94. Don't Tell Me What Love Can Do was released December 26th, '94.
That was the one that we played at AAF.
And then March 14th, '95 was Can't Stop Loving You.
Yeah, I'm still looking to see if I have the. I don't think I have the Don't Tell Me somewhere here somewhere else, but I do have other stupid stuff like Guns N' Roses, Chinese Democracy, and I have all the singles from.
May as well be Van Halen 3.
Yeah, I have all the singles from A Different Kind of Truth.
Oh, cool.
So that
are they regular, like the regular song?
Yeah, they came from. They're not CDRs. They're actually singles that came out.
Are any of them like edits or anything?
No. No, they're the actual singles. They didn't do any edits. And that's Stay Frosty. So it obviously went Tattoo first, and then She's the Woman, and then Stay Frosty, and then they checked out. That was it. They went 3 singles deep.
You want to know something really, really nerdy?
Sure. It gets worse than that?
Well, here's something really, really nerdy. Okay. I was the first person to leave a comment on the YouTube video for Tattoo.
Oh, were you?
Scroll back all the way, and the first comment was from me. Because I was... Does that make me the first person to see that music video?
Well, I don't know if it makes you the first person to see it, but I think I have... Here you go. Here's a rarity. You want to talk about a rare single that you won't see very often? Do you even know that song?
No. And John B. all left.
He's out? He's tapped out. So we have nobody to look this up? Is that what you're saying?
John. Yeah, I've never heard that one.
This is from...
I just know the Police's version of that.
Yeah. This is from an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. And I forget what movie it's from. Eraser or something like that. It's one of the terrible Schwarzenegger movies that came out in the late 90s. There's a Guns N' Roses song and a single that you probably have never seen and most likely have never heard before. It's a one-off. And I'm sure some Guns N' Roses fan will think this. John, here's your mission. What did this come out from?
Oh my God. What is it, a single or like a...
Yeah. I think it's either Schwarzenegger's Eraser or something like that.
What year is it?
1999.
Okay, so that was well before Democracy, right?
Oh yeah. This is it's not on any album. In fact,
who plays on it? Is it the original lineup or is it like the later lineup?
It's a CDR, but it came from Geffen Records.
So it must be something from the earlier catalog, right?
No, it's from a movie soundtrack.
Oh,
from one of the Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, like I don't know, Eraser.
Excuse me. I know they came. What was it? You Could Be Mine was from the Terminator 2 soundtrack, right?
Yeah, but that was recorded during the Appetite sessions. That's the last song that Steven Adler played on.
Really? I didn't know.
Yeah,
Adler was on that.
Yeah, if you go back to your Appetite liner, this is so fucking nerdy. If you go back to your Appetite for Destruction liner, on the bottom of it, it'll say, "With your bitch slap rapping in your cocaine tongue, you get nothing done."
Mm-hmm.
There's a quote from "You Could Be Mine" on that. That's the last song that Adler recorded with Guns N' Roses. Hold on a second. I'm looking for the details on. Oh my God, because you're slacking. End of Days. November 9th, 1999. It's from the End of Days soundtrack.
No. Okay, yeah. But I don't see Adler on any of the Use Your Illusion stuff.
Hang on a second.
Unless, well.
I'm looking it up for you, just so you.
Come on, look it up. Damn it. Yeah, I mean, maybe they did a demo with him on it, but I think Sorum was. Who knows? I mean, there's additional. Okay. You know what? Yeah, additional musician Steven Adler. You're right. Drums on Civil War. So what? Let's see. Did he do? Which ones did he do on?
Hey, Sean.
Part 1.
Sean Mahone.
You could be mine. Could be the first thing that Sorum played on full time. Maybe Civil War was the last thing that Adler played on. But I know that he's on the Illusion Records.
That's the only one I see that he got credit for. But
Right.
we're nitpicking. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just an illusion that he's on there.
Look what
Shannon Hoon. Let's give it up for Shannon Hoon though. I loved Blind Melon. I loved Blind Melon.
It's interesting because I think I had a conversation with a friend of mine on Facebook about this. He died outside of a bar in Fat City, Louisiana, which is this little area it's in Metairie technically. But I guess they were in town to play Tipitina's Uptown, but their bus was in Fat City next to a place called Kenny's Key West. And that's where they found him in an afternoon in his bunk on the bus. I don't know if they were playing Kenny's Key West, doing like one of those warm-up shows or whatever it was, but he died in New Orleans when I was on the air in New Orleans. And it was it was really sad. The whole city sort of recognized that it was happening. And he wasn't an A-level guy, but he certainly was famous enough at that time in 1990.
I loved Blind Melon, man. And I wasn't a fan until well after Shannon died, but
I saw them at as part of the MTV 120 Minutes tour in Brandeis. At Brandeis, it was Public Image Limited, Big Audio Dynamite 2, Live, and Blind Melon. It was one of those
interesting lineup.
Bills. Yeah. And it was interesting because it was at in Brandeis. I forget the name of the arena there, Brandeis University in Waltham, Massachusetts. But
I worked on a movie set there at Brandeis.
It was really, really late in the winter time. There you go.
What kind of movie was that, John?
It was a college film.
Was Mancuda part of that one?
No.
I remember it being a snowy night, and John Lydon is on stage, and people were throwing their sneakers on stage. And I remember him grabbing somebody's sneaker, and it was like literally like right out of the Boston Powers movie. He goes, really now, who throws a shoe?
Or George Bush.
Yeah. But then he goes, I know it is snowing out tonight. Have a nice walk back to your car or your automobile. It was sort of and I thought to myself, well, it is kind of a dumb thing to do, to throw your shoe on a snowy night
at Brandeis.
At Brandeis in Waltham in February or whatever it was.
That's funny.
Yeah. So that was, but Blind Melon was fantastic on that show. They were really
Have you
good.
seen their documentary, Letters from a Porcupine? It's a great documentary. It's a full. I mean, it's a lot of just performance footage, but it starts before they even had a contract, and they're out in I don't know what it was, somewhere down in like Maryland or something where they got their start, and it goes some opening dates where they from their first album where they're opening for like Alice in Chains and stuff like that.
They were really.
If you haven't seen it, Letters from a Porcupine. It's a great documentary about them.
They were really a lot like Blues Traveler, a better band than I think they got credit for. Obviously, Blues Traveler became known for the Runaround song and sort of that, and they came up during that same time as a lot of douchebag rock, like Spin Doctors.
Song.
You what?
They did the song for Roseanne, the TV show.
Right.
Oh, was that Blues Traveler?
Yeah, the last season
with the I can think of like the harmonica.
The harmonica, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there was that level of douchebag rock that came out at that time, like Counting Crows and Spin Doctors, and that stuff that just was terrible. That is all very disposable and discarded by then. But Blues Traveler was a much better band, and I think Blind Melon got sort of lumped into that as well. You know, that sort of hacky sack rock. You know, kids in patchouli oil and serapes in the early and mid '90s. And I don't think that Blind Melon really got the credit that they deserve. And Shannon did co-write some stuff with Axl along with Wes Arkeen. Wes Arkeen wrote a lot of good stuff too. That Axl gets all the credit for.
Yeah, the Letters from a Porcupine DVD is online. Check that out. It's one from years ago. It was one of the earlier music DVDs that I got, and it's like, you know, what is it, an hour and 16 minutes, and it's got performances from what was the Chicago at the Metro, I think it was Metro in Chicago, and some theater performances, and then they
played there. I played the Metro.
Did you? Yeah, great. It's I highly recommend that. I mean, I'm a huge I love all like the older band documentaries and concert DVDs, but Letters from a Porcupine, it's apparently on YouTube, and it's worth checking out. I'll post it to Discord if anyone cares.
Yeah, come on, you guys. The Discord's happening, man.
And it appears that we were able to make it through all 3 hours with Johnny Beane's battery.
That's right.
My laptop's dying now, so.
Well, it's okay. We're after midnight on the West Coast, after 3 a.m. on the East Coast, and thanks to Johnny Beane and his enterprising and brilliant wife, the show happened.
Yeah, let's hope that power issue. Let's hope that California can make it through with all these fires and stuff, man. It's not looking. I know Caleb posted some stuff earlier in the week of some. Where's he? Sort of. What area is he? He's not Hollywood, but
he's like Pacific Palisades, I think.
Palisades, yeah.
Fires there, yeah.
He showed some of that stuff, and that's scary, man. Naturally, don't mess with Mother Nature. That's what we can take out of this.
Sure.
Yeah. Let's just hope the car starts tomorrow, you know.
Well, someone will have to give Johnny a jump.
One other thing is I was doing a little research for the show. On October 22nd of 82, recently, just this past week, it was Van Halen Day in Worcester, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Van Halen Day. They had 2 dates for the 82 tour, Hide Your Sheep tour, at the Worcester Centrum, and
which was still a new venue at that point.
Yeah, because of fan outcry, they got a 3rd date added, and the mayor of Worcester
key to the city
gave him. Yeah, so I wish there was some footage of that. I've looked, I couldn't find much of it. You know, I don't know if anybody really cared at the time, but so yeah, Worcester Day in Massachusetts.
Give me 1 second.
EJ, let's call him EJ because I know you guys were struggling with that the other night. EJ says, "Can I rub your head for good luck? Anytime, rub it."
Well, he's not talking about that one.
Oh, well, no, the other one is off limits. So, anyway, do you have a Buddy Guy signature, Neanderthal?
He left.
Paul's gone. Buddy Guy signature. Dave has a Buddy Guy Strat, but I don't know if I have a Buddy Guy press pass or backstage pass. I do have a Buddy Guy pick. You guys have seen that.
Oh man.
And it's a classic. Right here. Here's the Buddy Guy pick.
Oh, thumbnail. Literally, I see your thumbnail.
And EJ also asked if I have a Buddy Guy signature. I was in line to get one, but a guy named David Nesdall ended up with the last one. So unfortunately, I don't have one. I'm hoping someday that I can acquire one if Nesdall is willing to let his go.
So Buddy Guy uses these big fat, triangle picks.
I heard that Nesdall's GIMP got away tonight.
Yeah, there's an APB out for a semi-nude, curly-haired man
Reports say
named Mancuda. The
there's
Mancuda is on
an
the loose.
escape Mancuda in the Long Island area.
I'm glad he
Oh, John Mancuda.
That's good.
I'm gonna trademark that because I know somebody's gonna steal it.
Oh, you got to do that, man.
I may write that parody song for you, Johnny, and send it to you so you can
There we
post it in the
go.
Discord.
Oh,
Remember Fuel?
I do remember Fuel, another band. By the way, big fans of Van Halen.
Are they?
Fuel guys. Yeah, they used to do they would do Van Halen covers in their shows live. Occasionally somebody get me a doctor.
Really? I
Yeah.
saw that they were another band that came through the casino a lot. Who's this? Brad Paisley.
Yeah, Brett, the lead singer, was a huge Van Halen fan.
I'm gonna miss her. Just looking through my pics right now. Anyone who's that?
Okay, I'm guessing that's Fish.
Little Feet.
Then one of the guys in Little Feet just died.
Oh, sad to hear.
Yeah, way to bring it down.
Right? Let's bring it back.
yeah, come on.
Yeah, I had some Cheap Trick. I was shuffling Cheap Trick on the iPod in the house yesterday. Man, what an underrated band. Just super good. You know, punky and yet with some Beatles influences.
I'm actually looking at this so I can zoom in on it. I don't know who that is, but it's a Diodario pick. Doesn't say what band they're from. Anyone know who that is?
Fruitcake Tony asks if I'm a fan of Randy Rhoads' playing. I am a fan of his playing. I'm not a fan of his tone. I find Randy Rhoads' tone to be very grating in
classic
in
argument.
Doses. In large doses. His playing was phenomenal. His picking was clean. Obviously, he was the next level of what Ritchie Blackmore and Steve Howe started with the neoclassical and hard rock melding. But his tone tends to get a little grating in large doses. I mean, when you go back and you listen to stuff like Suicide Solution, and he's digging into those chords, it's tough to listen to at loud volumes. Like certain bands, like when you talk about, we go back to Van Halen, you talk about the Unlawful Carnal Knowledge record. You can't listen to that record too loud because the guitar tone and the production on it is so well done. Yeah, I think with Randy Rhoads, Max Norman didn't get that scoop that I think would have probably helped him tonally. But as a player, I mean, Randy Rhoads is fairly unparalleled amongst his peers. But tonally,
it's like
tough.
Crazy. Just listen to Crazy Train. The tone on it.
It tends to be very white noise, staticky.
Yeah, it's like you take a 6-band equalizer and just drop the middle out.
Yeah, and not even that. I mean, almost to me, it seems like the other way around. It seems like a pyramid where the mids are.
Well, I don't. Yeah, I mean, it's got that unique mid.
Yeah, it's too
nasally sound.
Yeah, it's too abrasive. It doesn't have the scoop that we've sort of and maybe that was by design so that it would stand out, so that it would be unique. But it's tonally unpleasing to the ear in large doses at high volumes.
I would say it was fairly intentional because if you listen to it when he goes to a solo on that in that era of the Ozzy recordings, his solo tone is very different than his rhythm.
Yes, yeah, his solo tones sound very good and very round and full, whereas his rhythm tone is just. It's almost like how we.
It's like a direct, like directly into the board, like
analog through a pedal.
Through a pedal, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to have any amp warmth to it. It sounds very digital. It sounds very much like a Randall or Solid State. You know what I mean? Like directly into the board with no ambience to it or no sort of. No, it's just. I wish that sounded better because I don't think that does him any justice in the long run. I mean, Randy Rhoads is a book unfinished. I mean, he could have been
right.
Bigger than he is.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, I've always kind of wondered about what the hype was around Randy Rhoads, but the limited amount of recordings that he was playing on from Ozzy and Quiet Riot and other.
The Quiet Riot stuff is terrible.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't represent him very well. But then you do listen to what's some bootlegs or anything else where, there was obviously a reason why Ozzy chose him, and it's not necessarily like a linear move from somebody like Tony Iommi to Randy Rhoads, but
he was suggested by Dana Strum.
Yeah, and he was looking for a different sound than Tony Iommi, and that's
sure.
It was his first guitarist after Tony, right? Pretty much, or did he?
Yeah.
He interviewed other different people, but he settled on Randy.
Dave Nesdahl in my bed. No, there is no porn collection behind me. There's a lot of dummies books and some pretty kick-ass rock and roll memorabilia and stuff. But no, my porn collection is not. I don't have a porn collection. Sorry. Had one. I'm 51. Yep. I'm over porn.
Dummies books.
Yeah, I got a lot of dummies books. I've got Home Buying for Dummies, Mortgages for Dummies, German Shepherds for Dummies, Managing for Dummies, Creating Web Pages for Dummies, Pro Tools for Dummies, Bass Guitar for Dummies, and if you look right there, there's Guitar for Dummies.
Wanking for Dummies.
That was a thing back, man. The Dummies books were awesome.
Dummies books are great.
Hey, Simon.
Vistalite asked Jakey Lee or Wild who was the better replacement. Zakk Wylde, without a doubt.
Wild, absolutely.
Zakk Wylde, without a doubt. Jakey Lee's best stuff he ever did was with Badlands. And that's the only good stuff Jakey Lee has ever done. The stuff he did with Ozzy was very, very restrained. And again, this all goes back
restrained to is the word. Restrained because, I mean, production-wise, they didn't let him do shit. They didn't let him do anything.
Bob Daisley wrote those songs. Bob Daisley wrote most of that music. And, when you're not the songwriter, you don't really get much say. And Jakey Lee, a lot like a lot of these other guys, he was a hired gun.
Right.
And he was told, hey, this is what you're allowed to do, and don't do any more than that. You're an employee. You're not a. Whereas Zakk is an undeniable.
Didn't he not even get paid for some of that stuff? I think that's the rumor anyway.
The rumor is that he got screwed. He only got a percentage. He got flat fees for some stuff, and he didn't get any royalties on those records. And Bob Daisley certainly got screwed out of those royalties over the years. But Jakey Lee's best work is Badlands material, and Badlands never popped. As great as that band was, it never popped because it came at the end of 1989 and 1991 was when their two legit albums were released, and then by the time the third album, Dusk, was released, Ray had already passed. So Badlands was a band that came too late. Could have been great if they'd have been released in 1984-85 because Badlands was better than Whitesnake. But Jake's period of Ozzy's career is the great sort of we don't really talk about it. That and Brad Gillis's performance on Speak of the Devil, which is fantastic, by the way. Brad Gillis accorded himself very well on that record.
Was that the Speak of the Devil? Was that just a live album, or was that?
Yeah, it was Talk of the Devil in Europe, but here in the United States, the only reason they released that album is because Dio was in Sabbath, and they put out that Live Evil record. And when Live Evil came out, it was Ronnie James Dio doing Black Sabbath music. So Sharon, or actually probably Don Arden.
Weren't there some Ozzy live tracks from that on that album from the earlier era? No, there wasn't.
No. Yeah, but it was all Black Sabbath music. So
right.
It's all Black Sabbath stuff. So what happened was, I think it was Don Arden. I think he was still alive at the time. He had advised Sharon, put out a live album of Ozzy singing only Black Sabbath songs. So that Speak of the Devil record has no Ozzy solo material on it. It's only Black Sabbath music, and it was only put out to cockblock Live Evil. And it's out of print now.
Good night, Renus. I don't know what Johnny's trying to do here. Good Irish.
I'm trying to do what he does.
Good Irish.
Because he's always typing penis in the chat.
Penis.
And so I typed, good night, Renus.
Oh, okay.
Buckeye Punchy mentions Phil X and Bon Jovi. Phil X is an interesting little dog. Seems like a super cool guy, super talented guy. I think he's just collecting a big paycheck, and good for him. I don't know that Bon Jovi has done anything relevant since Sambora has left the band, but he doesn't have to.
Isn't Sambora kind of in and out, like like a?
No, he's out. He's been out.
He's completely out. Yeah, huh?
Yeah, he's been out for a long time now.
Yeah.
As I understand it, he and Bon Jovi have sort of rekindled their friendship. Sambora, I think, has been reported to have had a little bit of a bottle problem over the years, and drugs and alcohol have sort of have been an ongoing issue in the Bon Jovi band with various members over the years. And I think that Sambora and John had just finally got to the point where it was time to go. But Phil X is a great guitar player. Unfortunately, the one record he did with Triumph was a piece of shit. But he was in Triumph for one album.
I was just gonna say, when did he? That was spent what kind of resurgence after the 80s?
It was their last album. It was called The
Yeah,
Edge
so
of
it would have been
Excess.
was it 80s or 90s or when was that?
I'll tell you in a second because I've got it.
I mean, Triumph was sort of a one-hit wonder, but they were an amazing band. And
no, they put out five really good records. This is, let me give out the cheaters.
Now you look like a doctor.
Thank you. I think this is 91 or 92.
Right.
92. So this is
Were they still a trio at that point?
Yes, this is the Phil X Triumph record, and it doesn't really sound like Triumph because Rick Emmett is not singing on it.
I was gonna say, yeah. So Rick Emmett was always like the guitarist / singer.
They had, Gil Moore sings a lot of the stuff. I mean, he sings all the stuff on this record.
I think about the US Festival because that's really where I know my Triumph from the US Festival stuff. And a great set and a great,
a great band, underrated
show.
band, a bluesier version of Rush, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Rush is more prog rock, Triumph is more bluesy. But it's interesting because there's that propensity for Canadian bands to have high vocals. Rush, Triumph, Killer Dwarfs. Those bands have sort of higher range, higher. I don't know, maybe because it's cold up there. I don't know.
Well, Neil Young, he's got that high voice too.
Yeah, there's sort of a nasal, sort of a falsetto nasal thing that goes on with Canadian bands. And Triumph, a really good band, and Rick Emmett, a really underrated guitar player, and Phil X, a fantastic guitar player.
He was that kind of the first exposure, Phil X, as a
that was his first big band, and even then, it's. I became aware of Phil X more, through YouTube and the guitar videos that he does, and he's got sort of that sort of hippie stoner thing going. But I mean, his talent is undeniable, and cashing Bon Jovi paychecks for the past few years doesn't suck.
I've seen them a few times. I saw them at Gillette back in 05, and I saw them in I guess 93 probably. At the Centrum. I mean, great live band. They're really such a great band, underrated, and you kind of think that they're, a chick band and everything like that, but they're a great rock and roll band.
Fun fact, they're playing in, I want to say 1987 or 88, probably 87, at the Great Woods Center for the Performing Arts outside of Boston in Mansfield, Massachusetts.
Mansfield, yeah.
The opening band is Keel. All right, which is Keel had a moment in 1984 with a song called "The Right to Rock." So Ron Keel was the lead singer of the band Steeler, that was Yngwie Malmsteen's first band here in the United States. So Keel is opening for Bon Jovi. I had befriended the band, and this is before I was even in radio. I was 18, 19 years old. Started talking to Ron Keel, and what had happened is the night of the show, he said that one of his PA monitor or his microphone system had shit the bed. So he had to use Bon Jovi's mic system as an opening band, and it was nice of Bon Jovi to let them do that because opening bands usually don't get that courtesy. But he said that Bon Jovi's levels were so boosted that he had blown a couple of monitors and was responsible for paying them. Apparently, John Bon Jovi, for all of his talent and songwriting talent and success, is not a very powerful singer. So they really boost his vocals through the PA live, so that he sounds louder than he really is capable of singing. And I remember Ron Keel had like a 4-octave voice, and it was a weird double bill because Keel had no business being on the same bill with Bon Jovi. They were not the same kind of band. But I just remember that was one of the weird, you learned some things backstage about bands back then, and that was that John Bon Jovi doesn't have a very powerful singing voice, but I don't know that has hindered him success-wise.
No, still a band that's selling out arenas nationwide.
Yeah,
and they can sell a giant stadium for several nights. If they want.
They are the kings of the hair bands. Bon Jovi is the Led Zeppelin of hair bands. Bon Jovi, Def Leppard, Motley Crue, and then
it's funny. I really don't even put them in the same ballpark as like a Def Leppard and everything, but just because my taste for them, I don't really like. There's no really Bon Jovi hit that I really like, but they really do hold their own. If you look at the collective, sort of what they've written, the songs, and somebody like Richie Sambora, is an amazing guitar player, and and John Bon Jovi has a great voice, and he's a great songwriter too. But I put them in like a separate category, almost like just very pop more than any kind of a
But
rock.
They're not though. They're I mean Runaway is a hair band song. There's some really good stuff off of 7800 Degrees Fahrenheit that people don't listen to. There's a song called Tokyo Road that is fantastic. Really, really good song. And a song called King of the Mountain that is a straight up, like Billy Squires' The Stroke. And they are and it's tough to many bands spend their entire career never having released an album like New Jersey. And oh, by the way, it was preceded by Slippery When Wet, which was a bigger album. Like nobody releases New Jersey.
Well, what were the hits off of New Jersey? I mean, you can really instantly think of the hits off of Slippery When Wet, but then New Jersey was
Bad Medicine.
The B level hits, I guess.
I don't know about that. I mean, I'll pull them up for you.
Yeah, I mean.
Born to Be My Baby was one of them.
Born to Be My Baby was pretty big.
But put that up against, Wanted Dead or Alive or something like that, and it's
Lay Your Hands on Me, hit. Bad Medicine, hit.
That was Jersey? Okay.
Yeah. Born to Be My Baby, hit. I'll Be
Lay
There
Your
For
Hands
You.
on Me was huge, yeah.
Yeah. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 legitimate smash records on that album. I'll Be There For You, Born to Be My Baby, Bad Medicine, and Lay Your Hands on Me.
Not nearly as how many albums sold compared to Slippery When Wet.
Well,
New Jersey had how many million, and Slippery When Wet had how many million?
Let's see on the charts. The U.S. Billboard chart at the end of the year was number 4. It went number 1 in Australia, number 1 in New Zealand, number 1 in Sweden, number 1 in Switzerland, number 1 in England, number 1 in the United States. It is. In the United States, 7 million copies of New Jersey sold. So that's pretty good. I think Slippery When Wet might be 10 million. So when you start talking about 7 million records sold being considered a failure, I think you're sort of splitting hairs at this point.
Yeah, Slippery When Wet, I'm looking at 12 million.
Yeah, well, 12 million records, and so between 2 records they've sold 19 million albums.
That's crazy. Yeah.
That's a pretty big band, not counting the other stuff that they put out. I mean,
everyone see the Rejected cover of Slippery When Wet right there?
Yeah,
it's a good one.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one. the chick in the t-shirt. Yeah,
we can see that.
No, it's I mean, that's a big band. That was a big band, whether we like it or not.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, I would I respect them more than somebody like, and you can compare them to somebody like Motley Crue or even Poison or something like that. But I respect them more than those guys.
Well, if you want to talk about it, Bon Jovi, in comparison, sold more records than Van Halen with Sammy Hagar ever did.
Van Halen opened for them in 95, or was it 96? 95, 96.
I mean, Slippery When Wet and New Jersey are bigger records than anything Van Halen released with Sammy.
Right.
So that's how big they were. They were a massive, massive band.
They're still going strong.
Yeah.
One of the girls that I worked when I used to work at the Casino Ballroom, the lighting director for a couple of years, her name was Sooner. And she actually went on tour with Bon Jovi a few years ago. And there was I don't know if you guys have probably heard of Access TV.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Mark Cuban owns it.
There was a show called Tate Stages or Tate something. Tate Stages is the name of the staging company, and they did a whole series on Bon Jovi, just about sort of the behind the scenes lighting and sound stuff. And Sooner was on that, and she's toured with them for a few years, and I don't know if she's still with them or not. But just a side note that I worked with her, and she was the lighting director at my club for a while, and now she's working with Bon Jovi doing the moving lights, all the automated lighting and stuff like that.
Bon Jovi is still the biggest of those bands. Bon Jovi can play bigger arenas than Def Leppard right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they are the biggest. They are the kings of the hair bands. He is truly the heir apparent to Bruce Springsteen when it comes to that. For as far as New Jersey goes, and he's one of those guys that there aren't many singular artists like Bon Jovi. There are guys. I mean, Bon Jovi is in Paul McCartney level with regard to solo performances and being able to sell out big venues. So that's a big deal.
One of the few bands from that era that can still sell out a stadium, 50,000 people,
and a testament to a guy who worked harder than everybody else. I mean, John Bon Jovi knew that he wasn't the most talented. And he knew that he certainly might have been the best looking, though, but he knew he wasn't the most talented. But
wasn't he sort of like a prefab rock star? Like he knew he wanted to be a singer of a rock group, and he built his own group. And he like his first single was, or the first couple of he played with what band was it that he played with before anything else?
He started out as a gopher at a studio in New York City. His brother worked for a company, his brother or a cousin worked for, I think it was Cashbox magazine or something like that, where he was like an industry.
He was in a music video back in the early 80s. What was the band that he was in?
I don't remember. But he basically went and swept up studios, and in exchange for midnight to 5 a.m. studio time to record demos. I mean, the kid worked his ass off. For what it's worth, it's paid off for him. But credit where credit is due. I mean, hard work is 80% of getting there. The talent is the other 20%. He busted his ass and deserves every bit of success that he's gotten. And by the way, it doesn't suck that he's able. He and Richie Sambora wrote some pretty time-tested songs that continue to get airplay, while so many other bands of that era, the Rats and the Dawkins and even the Motley Crues, don't get the kind of airplay that Bon Jovi gets. It really is Bon Jovi and Def Leppard and everyone else from that era, from that 1984 to 89 era, and even 91. They were the biggest band in the world for a long time and still endure, which is stunning to me. But good for them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Power Station. He was in.
Power Station is
when he was 17. Bon Jovi was sweeping floors at his cousin Tony Bon Jovi.
Tony Bon Giovanni.
When Miko was recording "Christmas in the Stars," the Star Wars Christmas album, Tony Bon Jovi recommended that John sing "R2D2."
Yes,
we wish you a Merry Christmas.
I have that record.
Of course you do.
I do.
I believe Aldo Nova is his cousin.
Oh, really?
I believe, I think somewhere along the line, Aldo Nova and John Bon Jovi have a connection. I think it's a cousin or something like that, where they are tangentially related.
Man.
But he owns a football team too.
Yeah, he owns one of the arena teams out of Philadelphia. He's also, and this is pretty amazing and doesn't get talked about, he owns a soup kitchen in Philadelphia where homeless people and those who are down on their luck can go in and eat for free or pay what they want or work in exchange, like wash dishes for the day or whatever, and they get to eat for free. He's got like a soup kitchen that allows the indigent to eat with dignity. And he funds that himself. Philanthropic, whatever he does. I mean, he's got more money than he'll ever need, and he does give back a lot. He's a pretty stand-up dude. As much as we want to clown him for being a pretty boy, he has certainly given back a lot after the fact. And by the way, I don't own a Bon Jovi record.
Yeah,
I am
I know.
not a Bon Jovi fan. Don't like the band at all. Not a fan of the band, but as a human being, he seems to be a pretty stand-up guy.
Right. If you're a Van Halen fan, you're not necessarily a Bon Jovi fan. It's very different, but you got to respect them. Yeah, I mean, I think we all have kind of the same opinion of Bon Jovi, but I've seen them
Not that
live a couple
matters.
times, and they're amazing. They're a great group.
They've done just fine for themselves. They don't
Mhm.
need our approval.
And they're still going
The
strong.
book's already written. But yeah, Tony Bongiovanni was the guy that was intimately, because that's the family last name is Bongiovanni. And he was intimately associated with, I think, Cashbox magazine or Cashbox Records or something like that, and was an industry.
Yeah, and a
Just
lot
like
of the
Dee Snider's
lineup.
brother. Dee Snider's brother was a high up at Epic Records, a guy named Mark Snyder.
And a lot of the early, Slippery When Wet era Bon Jovi, some of the, like Tico Torres was a studio musician. He was the drummer, and he was a studio musician for several different albums before Slippery When Wet came around. And I can't name, we got Richie, John, and Tico. Those are the three that I can name from Bon Jovi.
Alec John Such was the bass player, and David Rashbaum is the keyboard player, but you know him as David Bryan. But David Rashbaum is his name. They've done,
Rash Bottom.
yeah, Rash Bottom.
Got a rash on his bottom.
Rash Bum. They have those guys worked their asses off. And there you go.
Thumbnail.
Who is that? Default. There you go.
That's so weird. I Love Boobies is not something you would expect from Default. Those are the guys that did the song Wasting My Time, which is like a big power ballad, like a Creed sounding song. The idea that Default would be I Love Boobies. I'm thinking to myself, yeah, that's a sexist band. The guys that wrote Wasting My Time.
My gosh. I'm just seeing the chat here. Holy crap, man.
I've got a big rash, man.
Oh.
Get that taken care of, Davey.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm going to say that I have 7% battery left on my
Done.
It's time.
my car is not going to start tomorrow, so I'm going to have to do it everywhere.
Well,
You know
how the battery in a car works, right, Johnny? You just got to start it up for a little bit and charge it. That's all you got to do is let it run for a little bit, and it'll be charged.
Yeah, when you're done with this, just fire the car up for like 20 minutes. Take a ride out to In-N-Out, grab yourself some food.
Oh,
See? I'm an idea guy.
I would. They're like half an hour away. But
So that'll be plenty of time to drive and charge your battery. and you know what? When it's all said and done, everybody in the chat should understand that and you might be late to this, or maybe people that are going to watch this later on after it's already posted. Johnny Beane made this show happen, and Johnny Beane's wife made this show happen. He lost power over 3 hours ago, almost 4 hours ago, because the state of California shut down his power. And he was badass enough, and his wife was badass enough to suggest hooking everything up to his car battery to make sure that this thing happened tonight. So,
yeah, thank you, Johnny.
Give him a thumbs up, if nothing less, for that, and send him $1 for a guitar pick or something like that, because he needs to buy a new car battery.
Subscribe. That's right.
2 batteries.
So that's awesome. And thank you, John, for making that happen, because none of this, I would have had to find something else to do for 3.5 hours.
You could have had a real life the past couple hours.
Yeah, I mean, how many weeks have I been doing this show?
It's
Everybody
better
asks
than
me,
real life.
People ask me, they go, "What are you doing on Saturday night?" I'm like, "I'm hanging out with Johnny Beane." They're like, "Why?" I'm like, "What else am I going to do?" Like, I don't know, maybe get a date.
Do you ever talk about us on your show? Have you
No.
mentioned us?
No, it's not about you.
It's not about us.
No, you know what? I honestly don't know that I'm even supposed to be doing this, because I think that I'm any sort of new media that
Conflict
I'm
of
supposed to do.
interest, yeah.
I don't know. It's not a conflict of interest because I'm not making money off of it. So it's not. This isn't a commercial endeavor. But contractually, if I'm doing something like this for a commercial endeavor, I'm supposed to do it under my company's banner. So this is just me hanging out on a Saturday night. Somebody asked me, "Is this part of your job?" I'm like, no. But
Exactly.
it's
You're just doing
way
it
more
for
work than my
the
job.
hell of it. Doing it for fun.
So everybody give Johnny a thumbs up and buy a pick or whatever it is, and be thankful that he actually took the time to make this thing happen. He makes it happen every week.
That's right.
And this one was way above and beyond what you would expect.
Oh, I just got the low battery thing.
All right, it's over.
Are we good?
Telling me now. Yeah, you guys I've got a PO box down below. Send me 2 car batteries.
That's right. Send him some candles or something, man. That's Johnny Beane at 4768 Soquel Drive, Soquel, California.
Oh, you just gave away my
Yeah, well, anybody can see it. I won't give out the phone number because
Oh, you can. That's fine.
anyone want to call? 415-952-3263. So, Johnny, yeah, last night I would have loved to have done the whole,
Really, are you starting another subject? He just told you he's got 7% battery.
If we go over, fine. But I know Johnny.
It's not about going
wanted
over.
me to chime in a few times last night on the show, but it's too difficult with the time delay and like I can't. Either I'm listening to just Johnny talking, or I'm listening to like the show, which is on a delay. And if I comment on anything, it's way too late. So we'll have to figure out how to make that work, Johnny, somehow. But
yeah, or you just enjoy watching?
Well, obviously, yeah. I mean, but if you could do it all in real time and like, but if I was, there was a few things you said, oh, John BL, what do you think? You kind of comment on it, but it would have been like, I would have been commenting on the live show, like, 30 seconds too late, and it wouldn't have worked, so anything, or I couldn't, if I was just listening, I could only hear Johnny. I couldn't hear any of the other people, Dave or anybody else. So anyway, have a good night, everyone, and don't forget to tune in on Tuesday for Talking
Andy
Guitars
Timmons.
with Andy Timmons, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, he's gonna be here. Oh, wow.
But everyone, thank you in the chat.
Johnny Beane didn't realize that because he was spending all of his time trying to rewire his house.
Yeah, it's still dark here. I have no power.
That's what happens at night. It gets dark.
Looks like someone's having a baby.
Look at this. Look at this. I'm in the dark.
There's got to be some sort of a class action lawsuit that can be filed against the state of California for this. They're supposed to provide basic services. And that's a basic service. So, you pay your taxes, you pay your electric bill. Is PG&E gonna prorate you for the next couple of days?
That's like what's going on in Massachusetts right now when, the governor bans all of the e-cigarettes, and there's all these people who have their full businesses, selling that stuff. And so they take the governor to court, and eventually, the governor just makes a choice and says, hey,
yeah, but that's not
we're not going to have them. It's not essential, but it's a big deal nowadays in Boston area.
My favorite story that's come out of Massachusetts, and this is not a joke by any stretch, is that there's actually a bill afoot, and this is all getting all political, but it's not really political, to ban the word bitch in the state of Massachusetts. That's a real thing. I can't believe we didn't talk about this during the show. That if you call somebody a bitch in Massachusetts, it's considered an aggressive, like an assault of some sort. There's a bill.
Well, it's like when they were trying to ban Fluffernutter.
But you can't do that. I remember I played a show in Quincy, Massachusetts, when they tried to ban public profanity. And there's a little thing called the First Amendment that says Congress cannot, enact any law. Now that's Congress. That's a federal law. But I think on the state level, they can try and get away with it if they can vote it in. But just fucking retarded is what that is.
Yeah.
So thank you, Johnny. Do you still
Thank
have power?
you, Johnny.
You're still with us?
I can see your eyes. Are those your eyes? They're glowing. Man, that was something else.
What percentage are you on the battery now?
4.
Well, yes. Again, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Fruitcake Tony, Dutchy 5150,
I was
Buckeye
sleeping.
Punchy. Don't forget Nesdell in my bed.
No.
What?
Just-
Wait, what?
Vista Light.
Wait,
Those
what?
are the few that were talking, chatting in the last few. That's about it. those four.
Were there a lot of people here?
Man, it's all Fruitcake Tony and Vista Light and Johnny Beane. Simon Williams, thank you. Renus Pinkle, there we go.
There's still 53 people watching, so thank you.
EJ, just gonna call you EJ from now on. Anyway, yes,
Johnny
thank
Beane
you
is-
all tuning in
Johnny
for
Beane is in the
Straturday
dark
night.
playing a buddy guy strat.
Hopefully, Johnny Beane gets his power back soon, and let's all your prayers out to the people in California with dealing with all those wildfires and everything, man. That's not good stuff.
And thoughts and prayers to Johnny Beane's car battery.
There you go.
Yeah,
And
there's
the chickens too.
yeah, and Ned is out there,
And
right?
Ned, yeah.
Poor Ned
He's
in the dark.
Ned's a trooper. He'll make it. He'll do
Although
all right.
I know what happened, right? Before the power went out, I was sitting there at my computer getting ready for tonight, and
You were saying that. Yeah.
I see Howie eating.
Oh yeah.
He wasn't
He
at his
did.
bowl. He was next to the floor. I'm like, what's he eating? And I go and look, and it looks like Cookie Monster's hand. And he was eating, and I noticed Ned is sitting right next to him. And I'm like, oh no. Ned had brought something in, and Howie ate it right up.
Beautiful. Well, you'll have a good time cleaning that diaper tomorrow.
So they're best friends now. Howie loves Ned now for bringing him that, you know.
Free food, yeah. All right, John's gonna lose power.
Yeah. Oh, the power's been out ever since we've been on. Actually, before that, we've been on for 3.5 hours. So, yeah,
Cookie.
yeah, we had one of those, you know.
Oh man.
Power's been out since right before 8:40, 8:50 my time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Johnny. Thanks for powering through it and making it work under tough circumstances.
Man, it's like now I'm gonna have to go sleep. I'm gonna have to go sleep in the dark, you know.
Ah, I hate when that happens.
The worst, sleeping in the dark is fine. The worst is sleeping when it's completely quiet. You know, like last year, the power was out for after a snowstorm, and it was, you know, I'm used to having like a fan on or something while I'm sleeping, so I put on
top.
the white noise on the phone. Gotta have something.
All right, good talk,
yeah.
John.
All right. Well, thank you again, everyone, and tune in next week. Tune in Tuesday for hopefully Andy Timmons
Yeah, in Mancuda.
and John Mancuda. Hopefully not tied up anymore.
I'm gonna have to rewatch that, man. That was hilarious,
It
man.
was great.
That was funny.
Yeah, he's awesome, man.
Yeah. So.
All right, let's see. I'm at 3%, so I'm gonna hit stop, and then we can chat for a minute, and then I'm gonna go away.
Good night, all.
Good talk.
Everybody, subscribe. Can you guys hear me? Subscribe, thumbs up, and we'll see you guys soon. All right.
All right.
Straturday night. See you guys later. Johnny
Hey,
Beane. And well, shout outs. Neanderthal, shout out.
Neanderthal.com, kslx.com, facebook.com/Neanderthal.
Yes.
John Biel.
You can check out my channel on YouTube, John Biel, or
Tiny Fader. Dot.
all of it. Yeah, sure. And thank you all. Have a good night. That's all I got.
Longest goodbye ever.
And we're off.
Scene. Maybe.
We're done. John Bill, we're done tonight, man. We're actually off, man.
It says
Nobody's
we're still live.
Oh,
Still live. See you guys.
John Bill, what do you think about Nesdol, man? It says we're off.
Yeah.
Still says.
I'm not saying anything because it still says live to me. I'm not going to share any opinions. David Nesdall's a great guy. I like Dave.
Man, 2020. Who do you think?
2020. Damn, I hope it's not
Nesdol?
Uncle
Uncle
what's
Buck?
his name? Uncle Buck. Uncle Don.
I think that Johnny is just going to let this thing run until.
I guess so. Yeah. What else do I have
and
over
then
here?
he can't possibly defend himself.
Here. This was another pick I found. Oakland Zone.
What the hell is that?
I think it's Tower of Power. Yeah, there we go.
Oh, there you go.
The Oakland Zone. I don't even know if we're still live. Johnny says we are.
No, we are.
Are we?
Who else is this? I'm just looking through my picks, so I got all these.
Oh, my car just died. Dang it.
Ugh.
Ugh.
And don't forget, as always,
Which just died.